breaking tackles and shattering stereotypes.
Basically, the guys are like tackle football.
Not all girls are made to be ballerinas.
These players have a football league of their own, but it hasn't been an easy run. And survival of the smallest.
There's no secret in our business. We have to win football games and sell affordable tickets and entertain the fans.
You don't have to be rich or big to be successful in the Canadian Football League. Hi there, I'm Tom Harrington. Welcome once again to the Sports Journal. Another Canadian Football League season is getting down to crunch time, but the CFL may face a real crunch next year. The XFL is a new professional football league that is bankrolled by professional wrestling money. It threatens to siphon off good players and coaches when it opens next February. And the CFL's biggest market tackles new competition next spring. That's when Toronto's Arena League team hits the floor. Now, another professional football league has already made its debut. It kicked off this fall to create opportunities for a different breed of player. But as Simon Dingley discovered, there have been more fumbles than touchdowns.
In a rough, remote patch of Rochester, New York, they take to the turf. They practice at a high school late at night, the only time they can get the field. They are the New York Galaxy, one of 11 teams in a new American Pro Football League.
Back here. Get your head up, watch the ball. You weren't even paying attention, man.
Find some Barbs here, but no Barts. Some Lorraines, but no Larrys. This is the Women's Professional Football League, a league that includes the Minnesota Vixens and Daytona Beach Barracudas. New names trying to break old perceptions.
Most of us, at least, by the time we were old enough to hold a football, we were told, you know, you can't play football. And so now we're out here trying to just prove to everybody that women can play football.
Now, women have played pro football before. Leagues were formed in the 60s and 70s. Who can forget the Dallas Bluebonnets and the Los Angeles Dandelions? What makes this team different is 9 of the women are Canadian. I'm one. Canadians who've joined an American league to play the sport they love.
Ready, set, hut! Get over there! 44, Ready, set, hut!
One of the Galaxy quarterbacks is Geneviève Anse of Brossard, Quebec. She grew up cheering for the Montreal Alouettes. Before this, she'd only played flag football, no hitting. But this is full contact, a league where quarterbacks can get sacked. What do your girlfriends back in Montreal say when...
Oh, they think I'm crazy. They really do.
Some might say women playing pro football is crazy, but not League Commissioner John Turner. The former Minnesota Viking and San Diego Charger is running the league out of Edina, Minnesota. 6 weeks into its inaugural season, and there have been fumbles. A league spokesman admits he doesn't know if anyone's been paid. Another says the athletes may see some money at season's end.
Ready, set, hut!
No one here thinks of football as a career. Sadia Ashraf is also a quarterback. She grew up idolizing NFLer Joe Montana. But unlike her hero, Ashraf has a day job.
What are the main forms of literature that we know of?
Ashraf teaches high school English in Pointe Claire, Quebec. To her, throwing a perfect spiral is like building a good plot.
Okay, so we have climax, which is the high point of conflict, and then we have...
Ashraf knows about conflict. She loves the game, but not everyone gets her football fanaticism, especially her parents from Pakistan.
No one in my family has ever played football. That's why my parents don't really understand it, so they don't usually come out and watch. So my mom was just, oh my God, I can't believe you want to go. And my dad was like, oh, well, my dad was more concerned about, well, how are you going to afford it? So the main concern was from my mom about getting her.
Her students are surprised but supportive.
Well, I think it's like different for our teacher to play football, but it's pretty cool. Like there's nothing wrong with it.
It's like incredible how she could go out there and like play football.
Ever since I can remember, I've always wanted to try tackle football. Just, you're just watching like, oh, I played on contact and I coach, but it's just, okay, I want to see what it's like, getting hit.
Ashraf admits size matters.
It's hard, especially because I'm short. It's a bit tough to see over my linemen, and the first hit that I took, it just blew me away.
But pain is part of the game, and another issue to deal with. Galaxy defender Donna Doherty found that out breaking up a play.
I broke my thumb. I was on a pass. I was trying to stop the receiver from catching it. I stuck my thumb in, and it broke at the knuckle.
Weekdays, she's an office manager in Montreal.
Okay, we have to deposit this. Is there anything about it?
Yeah, I have something here.
Come on, Matt.
On weekends, she's a cornerback, knocking down passes and prejudices.
But not all girls are made to be ballerinas. Some like more aggressive types of sports. I mean, we're not all made to be housewives either.
There is tension on the Galaxy, too. The issue? Some Canadians can't practice as often, but play more than the Americans. The reason? The Canadians have played a lot of flag and touch football, much more than the Americans.
So the ones who have been sitting there practicing day after day, who are not starting and not even dressing, some of them, have made comments. Why is this girl from Canada who's never around half the time come in all of a sudden and get a position?
Get back there. Set it up now. Hands around.
American linebacker Kristen Huber chooses her words carefully.
Yeah, it might be a bit of an issue. Hopefully we'll iron that out shortly. People whine, but those are the mediocre players who are whining, so.
There's whining from the sidelines, too. Whether the women are Canadian or American doesn't matter to some spectators.
They can't even complete a play. They can't catch a pass or nothing like that. They can't hit.
Football fan Jay Reed's advice? Hang up your cleats.
That can be kind of dangerous because women got very feminine. They're not on hard bodies and stuff. I'm saying they could get really hurt out here if they're not careful what they're doing.
Others are less quick to condemn.
They're work in progress, just like any football team.
Could they play against men?
Not right now, but maybe in the near future, somewhere like that. There's some talent out there that you just can see in some of them.
Sarah Campbell launches a blitz against sexism and skepticism.
We get no respect, but we're out here banging heads every week. Let's step on out there and let's go, because, most of those guys, 30, the average age of this team is 33. Most men 33 if they're not playing a professional sport, are overweight and on the sofa. So most women out here aren't.
Game day in Buffalo, New York. Finally a chance to strap on the pads and shut up the critics. The Galaxy has lost all 3 of its games, outscored 95-6. The team desperately needs a win. The league needs to score too. It's being bankrolled by several team officials and one major investor. At least 1,000 tickets have to be sold for every game just to break even. Some crowds have been as small as 300 people. Money's short, and on this day, the game gets scrubbed. The Tampa Tempest never makes it here. They say the plane tickets are too pricey. It's the second Galaxy game to be canceled. With the match called off, the team's general manager and some players retreat to a country cabin near Rochester, New York.
The hardest thing is me telling the girls that we're not playing a game. You're all psyched to play, ready to have a game and go out and get hit and hit people. And then all of a sudden you're told, oh, no, wait, sorry, you're not going to be playing. It's disheartening.
Does it hurt the league's credibility?
It can. You're trying to run a professional league here, and a professional league wouldn't be canceling games like this.
Nothing surprises me anymore.
How would you say the league is run?
There's a lot of kinks to work out, I'm sure. You got to get the bugs out the first year.
They need some backing, some financial backing, some support from some big sponsors. Right people in the head office.
League spokesman Pete Vacco refused to comment on Brooks' complaints. Vacco says he expects the WPFL to survive and eventually
Get pumped for Grey Cup Sunday starting at 3:30 Eastern. Then it's the battle for the 88th Grey Cup at 5:30 Eastern when the BC Lions take on the Montreal Alouettes. The 88th Grey Cup tomorrow on CBC. On CBC Sports Saturday, Game Faces looks at Michael Lisko, the CFL's new commissioner. And from Lake Louise, Alpine Ski World Cup kicks off with men's downhill later today. Get pumped for Grey Cup Sunday starting at 3:30 Eastern. Then it's the battle for the 88th Grey Cup at 5:30 Eastern when the BC Lions take on the Montreal Alouettes. The 88th Grey Cup tomorrow on CBC. On CBC Sports Saturday, Game Faces looks at Michael Lisko, the CFL's new commissioner. And from Lake Louise, Alpine Ski World Cup kicks off with men's downhill later today.
Welcome back. Compared to other professional sports, the Canadian Football League is not rolling in cash. CFL teams operate with relatively tiny budgets. The average player salary is modest. It all makes for a remarkably level playing field. So, unlike other professional sports, the CFL's challenging economics make it just about impossible to buy a championship. That's why teams in smaller cities such as Hamilton and Winnipeg can compete with so-called major market teams such as Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. The CBC's Doug Dirks has more on the story from this year's Grey Cup host city.
Let's listen to that hit.
The CFL has been a huge hit this year.
Right on the chin.
The games have been exciting. National TV ratings are up.
Green to pass.
And overall attendance is on the rise.
Yeah! Go Stabs!
But teams in the CFL can never afford to relax. Even in cities like Calgary, where the Stampeders set a franchise record for attendance, averaging nearly 36,000 per game.
I think the league's learned one thing, that you have to work at it all the time. It's not something that you just allow to lay there and think it's going to grow.
Wally Buono is the coach and general manager of the Calgary Stampeders, the CFL's most successful franchise during the past decade. During his tenure, Buono has led the Stampeders to 8 division titles and a pair of Grey Cup victories. It's a remarkable comeback for a team that was in danger of folding during the late 1980s.
I guess the biggest thing that we had to start changing was the attitude towards the football club, not only, I think, internally, but also how it was perceived by the public, how it was perceived by the media. And I think that was probably the most difficult thing to do.
The key to the Stampeders' success has been continuity. Buono has done a great job of recruiting and replacing the leaders on his football team. He surrounded himself with some of the best coaching minds in the CFL, and Buono has assembled a loyal, homegrown staff to market the team.
There's no secret in our business, and we have to win football games and sell affordable tickets and entertain the fans.
Stan Schwartz is the Calgary Stampeders president. He's been working at McMahon Stadium in a variety of positions for nearly 2 decades.
I think the nice thing about it is we've done it in a quiet, unassuming way, and we've got back to grassroots. We've got into the high schools, into the youth, and we've gained the confidence of the community.
But the road to recovery during the past decade has been littered with potholes.
Incomplete!
Larry Rickman rescued the community-owned franchise in the fall of 1991. The flashy stock promoter inherited a debt of $3.5 million. Rickman's team was successful on the field, but he couldn't beat the bank, forcing the team into receivership in 1996.
There was a time after bankruptcy when Stan Schwartz and I both were here on a volunteer basis. They told us receivership would be a week, 2 weeks. Well, 2.5 months later, nobody had bought the team, and we came each morning and knocked on the door, and the receiver had the key, and they let us in.
Interesting. Yes, Ron Rook is the Stampeders' Vice President of Marketing and Communications. He kept showing up for work because he has a passion for his job and the CFL. It's a passion shared by Sig Gucce, the current owner of the Stampeders. Unlike Rickman, Gucce has maintained a relatively low profile, an approach appreciated by the people responsible for running the football team.
So I think it's been successful because everybody's understood their roles. Sig's been very good about supporting the marketing people, the business people, and the football people. And I think because of that, he's reaping the benefits, and so are we.
It's taken more than 10 years, but it looks like the Calgary Stampeders are finally about to make some money. Hosting a successful Grey Cup game will help owner Sig Gucce clear his debt. solidifying the Stamps role as the CFL's model franchise. But none of that will mean anything if the league can't duplicate that model in the major markets like Vancouver and Toronto.
Everything I did didn't work out.
Sherwood Schwartz is the New York-based owner of Toronto's CFL team. He made several gaffes during his maiden voyage with the Argos, but Schwartz is working hard to correct those mistakes. His best move may have been hiring Jeff Giles to run the Argos. Giles has been the president and chief operating officer of the CFL for the past 6 years. He's inheriting a promising football team that missed the playoffs by just 1 point this season, but Giles' biggest challenge is improving attendance and corporate support in the CFL's most important market.
I think the trouble with both Vancouver and Toronto in particular is, in many ways, we want to be American. And that's not the case in Calgary and Edmonton.
Just like Montreal is at McGill Stadium. You know, better to have a smaller stadium and have a full house than a big stadium half empty.
The Lions and Argos are stuck with their indoor stadiums for the foreseeable future. But the one thing they can change right now is the way they do business. The CFL is one of the few pro leagues featuring a level playing field when it comes to player salaries, and that can be the key to turning a franchise around.
I don't think you have to go out and spend a lot of money. You just have to get back and get good, solid ownership, management, and you have to have a winning tradition on the field. And those things can happen quite quickly if you have the right people in place.
I don't think there's any magical answer to it. I think we're just going to have to sell the fans of Toronto on the entertainment value and on the hard work and passion that we have for this. And I think if we do those two things, then the people will start to support this team again.
CBC Sports presents the Canadian Football League.
The kickoff for our 1976 Grey Cup game is only minutes away.
Offense could be the name of this Grey Cup game. There could be all kinds of it both ways.
If we can establish a running game early, that'll certainly help our passing game. Hopefully it'll keep their defense off balance.
Normally we had a fairly balanced ratio, import, non-import, but we played one more import player on the defense just because of Tom Clements and Tony Gabriel.
Our play-by-play people think that offense is going to dominate this football game, but Mike, it's been defense over the last few years.
Well, it concerns most if Ronnie has too much time to throw the ball and really is hot. It's going to be a real long afternoon. The main part of the game plan is keep the ball away from Ronnie and just go out and do our own thing, you know, run our own offense, play defense best we can, and let's go do it.
We knew it was going to be a tough game. I know they were favored, I think it was by 13 or 14 points or so. And so we were the underdogs. We had nothing to lose, and we just went out to play.
We really felt confident going into the football game that we would win it. And everybody looked at it, okay, we're going to win this thing. A lot of guys are going to retire, go out winners, and move on.
And on what is still a Saturday morning here in southern Alberta, good morning again. I'm Brian Williams from McMahon Stadium. If you're just joining us, welcome to CBC Sports Saturday. Still to come at 2 local 4 Eastern game faces, Mark Lee in conversation with the incoming commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Mike Lisco. And coming up at 2:30 Mountain, 4:30 in the Eastern time zone, we'll go to nearby Lake Louise, Scott Oak, and Karen Lee Gartner standing by with a Men's World Cup downhill. So lots happening on this Saturday, still Saturday morning here in Alberta. We have just had 5 nights of Grey Cup classics. In fact, some guy came up to me in the hotel yesterday and said, I watched the 1983 game in Vancouver, the Cedric Mitter game, and he says, do you know what? And I said, what? He said, you had dark hair and a lot more of it. I naturally thanked him and moved on. Speaking of classics, in 1975, the Grey Cup was played for the first time in this city. It'll be the 3rd time when it's played here tomorrow. That was 1975. It was not a classic game. Edmonton defeated Montreal by a score of 9-8. The reason I mention it, a year later in Toronto, it was a classic at the old CNE Stadium. The last meeting between the two Rough Riders, Saskatchewan and Ottawa. Ron Lancaster quarterbacked the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, Tom Clements, Ottawa. In those days, CTV and CBC actually split the telecast. CTV did the first half of the game, and CBC did the second half. Let's go back to 1976, a classic, with the call from CTV. Here are Pat Marsden and Mike Wadsworth.
There is just a tremendous air of excitement here at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. Anywhere from 5 to 7 points, the Saskatchewan Rough Riders have been favored. But as we say, it means nothing now as McAreedy kicks it to Art Green at his 15. Green gets out to the 34-yard line. Frank Landy, number 62, down to make the tackle for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will take over 1st and 10 at their 33-yard line. There's a look at the Ottawa offense, led by their great quarterback, Tom Clements. They'll have Art Green and John Palazetti at the running back spots. The wing back will be Jim Foley. The wide receivers, Avery, Kuzik, and Gabriel on 1st down Ottawa at their own 34-yard line. The give is to Green. And that's the kind of rushing that led him to the Eastern Conference Championship this year, as Ted Provost, number 10, and Ray Odoms, 12, are there to nail the Ottawa fullback, but not before a big 9-yard gain.
And establishing that running game early is so vital to the Ottawa Rough Riders to slow up the pass rush for when Tom Clements is forced to go to the pass. Also to try to draw those linebackers in, because if those linebackers are forced to protect against the run first, their first obligation, it could open the short passing game.
There you see the Ottawa offensive line on 2nd and 1. Will he give it straight ahead to Green? That is the call. Green gets to very close to the 35-yard line. Tripped up by Cleveland Van, and that should be an Ottawa 1st down.
I'll tell you, if it is, not by a great deal, because of the work of Cleveland Van, the middle linebacker. You see him eluding the block of center Don Smith, number 64, and he gets Green close to the line of scrimmage, but as you indicated, Pat, it was enough for the 1st down.
Well, there's no doubt that Ottawa has to set up the run in order to establish the pass. Conversely, Saskatchewan feels that they can pass to set up their running. So you do have a contrast in styles, but both very effective offensive units. 1st down Ottawa at the Ottawa 45. Again, this is Green. 3 consecutive carries as flags go down. Provost, number 10, and Lauren Richardson, 17, are there to make the tackle.
The preliminary indication is holding. It appears to be against the Ottawa Rough Riders. There it is. That's certainly a blow to this Ottawa drive in their first possession following the kickoff.
Well, Art Green was a workhorse for this club throughout the 1976 campaign, and they've had 3 plays so far. He's carried all 3, but Saskatchewan will accept the holding penalty. It'll make it 1st down Ottawa, 20 yards to go, and the ball will be spotted just inside the Ottawa 35-yard line. But you know, we talk about Saskatchewan and the great Ronnie Lancaster. Defense is as much responsible for them being in this Grey Cup game as anything else. As you look at Ronnie Lancaster and John Payne on the sidelines, and we'll talk about that defensive unit in just a moment. It is 1st and 20 Ottawa at their own 35. Clements throws into the middle, intending it for Tony Gabriel. No good. The ball bounced in front of him as Lauren Richardson was there to provide very close coverage on the intended receiver.
Good rush also by Jesse O'Neill, number 61. Clements had some time initially, but finally that pressure was felt. He also had Avery going very deep against Jim Marshall. It appeared to me that Avery, running that deep inside pattern, had an edge, but because of the rush, Clements just did not have the time to look to him.
Well, there's the Saskatchewan defensive lineup. The front 4 of Landy, Roth, Wells, and O'Neill, as tough as any in this league. It is 2nd and 20, Ottawa at their own 35. Clements going deep for Kuzik, and the coverage by Provost. Kuzik is incensed, feels that there should be an interference call. There is no flag on the field. They collided while going for the ball.
Well, it appeared to me that Provo was attempting to effect coverage on it, but he certainly did collide with Avery. We'll take another look at it here. There was a crossing pattern. Kuzik coming to the inside as Gabriel worked outside. He's certainly open. There's the contact, but it appeared to me that it was after the ball had passed by Kuzik.
And for those of you who may be wondering about the pronunciation of Ted Provost's name, it is a French name, initially from Canada. Provost, an American boy who went to Ohio State, prefers to be called that way. On 3rd and 20, Jerry Organ's kick bounces in front of Leif Pettersson. He picks it up, flags go down, no yards will be the call, as the Ottawa Rough Riders' Jeff Turcotte was within the restraining area. So the penalty will go against Ottawa. Only actually it was a 48-yard punt because of the great roll, but Saskatchewan will pick up the 10-yard advance on the no yards call. No yards. So Ottawa did pick up a first down on the rushing of Art Green. Saskatchewan tightened up as we look at the Saskatchewan Rough Rider offense led by Shenley Award winner Ron Lancaster. Molnar and McGee in that backfield with Leif Pettersson, Dawson, Mazurek, and Richardson, the receivers. And let's watch Saskatchewan go to work offensively on first down at their own 40-yard line. Quickly to Bob Richardson. Richardson gets to about the 47. He'll have 7 yards as Al Brenner, number 13, makes the tackle for Ottawa. Richardson, the big tight end, was really utilized by Lancaster this year. He caught 41 passes.
Ottawa has switched their inside safeties. Krepes on the left, Rod Woodward was on the right. He was actually flattening out to that area where Brett Dawson was flanked, as almost giving double coverage. That opened up that area for Richardson for the quick look in.
Second and just a little more than 3 yards to go. The give is to McGee. McGee has the first down as he crosses the 50 to the 52 and down by the middle linebacker Larry Cameron, 52.
Good support by Rod Woodward from that inside safety position, but he wasn't able to crack back as Molly McGee turned it inside for the first down.
Well, a good block by Steve Molnar enables Molly McGee to pick up the first down of the game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as we go by the 3-minute mark of this opening quarter, no score. First down at the Saskatchewan 52 for the Western champions. This is Molnar, big hole. Molnar drops the ball. It's recovered by wonderful Mons at the 50-yard line. Now, let's see whether or not they rule the ball dead. Mons is on his way. The play has been whistled down. Wonderful Mons goes all the way into the end zone.
No fumble. The whistle is gone before the ball has come loose.
We will await the official's decision. It will be Saskatchewan ball at the Ottawa 50-yard line.
Well, we'll see if we can take another look at it. Molnar, quick hitting right up into the middle. You see a tremendous block by Gary Brandt in the middle of that area. But certainly he is down before he loses control of the ball, and I think the officials quite correctly called it. Wonderful Mons, the man who picked it up, went into the end zone, all for naught. Saskatchewan continues with possession.
Well, there you see Wonderful Mons, who began the season with the Toronto Argonauts. Actually didn't see any playing time, moved over to Ottawa, and has really done a job at that cornerback spot in the Ottawa defense. Molnar ends up with a 9-yard gain, so it is 2nd and 1 Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 50-yard line. This is McGee. McGee has the first down, drops the ball, recovered by Al Brenner. This time it will be Ottawa ball at their own 45-yard line.
The big play when Larry hit Molly allowed the defense, because we had a great defense that year, allowed the defense to get high, to get excited. Because you've got to make a play on defense to get to the point where you're excited and know you can dominate.
He'd had a little bit of a history fumbling the ball all year. He was a good back and a good blocker, a good pass protector. He was valuable to us, and he got hurt a little bit on that play, and later on got hurt again.
We've got 10 minutes, 20 seconds left to play in the opening quarter of this 1976 Grey Cup game. There is no score. Ottawa, with the first break of the ball game, comes up with first down at its own 45. Clements on the draw to Palisetti. Cleveland Van wraps him up at the 50. He'll have 5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 5, Ottawa at their own 50-yard line. We are just underway here with 4.5 minutes left to play in this opening quarter. There's no score. From our eye in the sky, you see what it looks like here at Exhibition Park in Toronto. A record crowd to see this Grey Cup Classic between the two best teams in the CFL, and there is no disputing that remark. It is 2nd and 5, Ottawa. The ball at their 50-yard line. We've got 10 minutes left to play in this opening quarter. Clements with his first completion to Kuzik, with the coverage being supplied by Jim Marshall, 26. He'll be very close to a first down as Don Whitman is standing by with George Reed.
Well, there's no doubt, Pat, that this gentleman would dearly love to be out there. You get a twin standing on the sidelines, George. 1 year out of retirement with that Saskatchewan team.
Yes, I do. It's awful tough to stand there. I've been with the guys all morning and everything, and it's awful tough just being here, and you keep wanting to get out there on the field.
George, the Players Association, which you are president of, is meeting this week. What are the big decisions on the agenda?
Well, it will be, negotiation will be the big thing, and a lot will have to do with the contract, the standard players' contract. It's got a lot of problems we want to iron out and so forth. And outside of that, it will be deciding where the All-Star game will be played, and just kind of generally clean up the rest of the things that we have to do, such as the Tom Pate Award, deciding where the All-Star banquet will be, and this type of thing. So we have a pretty full agenda for 3 days here.
No doubt where your feelings lie in this ballgame, though.
Well, they're with Saskatchewan.
George Reed, the president of the Players Association. Pat, back to you.
On 2nd and 6, Clements fires it out to Palisetti. He drops the ball. And so the pass will simply go incomplete as Ken McEachran gave him a little shot. It'll bring on the Ottawa punting unit on 3rd and 6. Jerry Organ will try a 57-yard field goal.
This is the Grey Cup game. Like, don't leave anything behind. So if there's any chance of getting a 57-yard field goal and setting a CFL record for a Grey Cup field goal, why wouldn't you? So when George looks at me, I say, let's go.
Rod Woodward to hold. Oregon puts it up, and it is short. Marshall at his 6-yard line. A flag goes down as Marshall dives his way through to the 17-yard line. Tom Schutte cut the legs out from under him. But there are flags all over the field, and you can almost anticipate some kind of a blocking infraction.
Schutte certainly was the man complaining on the play, Pat. Whether or not he's going to be called or whether it was an infraction against him, we'll have to wait and see. Here's another look at it now. Schutte is number 56, definitely. He was blocked from behind by number 58, Sam Holden. So the call is against the Riders, and they'll have to start from deeper in their own end.
Saskatchewan has the ball at its own 7-yard line. First down as Ronnie Lancaster brings that offensive unit out over the ball. A good look at the 17-year veteran of CFL play. This is McGee. McGee is upended by Mark Cosmos, and he manages maybe a yard at most.
Cosmos just got an arm on him as he was trying to come around that offensive right side, and that was enough to upset McGee. This Ottawa defense, and particularly their linebacking core, have been very strong early in this first quarter. It was Larry Cameron that had hit Molnar, causing the fumble after the play had been whistled dead, and he was also the one that hit McGee, giving Ottawa possession earlier at their own 45.
They rule there is no gain as Ronnie Lancaster, who was better than 60% in passing this year, had his finest season ever as a 2nd and down. Lancaster is nailed just outside the goal area. He slipped down, and by the time he got back up, the Ottawa defensive unit had moved in on him. Number 68, Mike Fanucci, was there to grab the Saskatchewan quarterback just outside the goal area.
Looking back, might have been better off to just say to heck with it, give them the 2 points, kick off, and play from there. I had a tendency a lot of times to not give up on a play, and many times I know it helped, and we made the play, and it helped us. On that particular instance, it probably hurt us.
That was very nearly a safety touch.
Very nearly, which would have meant that Saskatchewan would have given up 2 points and then had to give over possession to Ottawa as well by kick. Ronnie Lancaster seemed to be looking downfield. He had Richardson at the sideline area. That slip undoubtedly contributed to this big play defensively by Sims and Fanucci. We'll be back in just one moment.
Well, we're back as you look at Bill Hatanaka, number 16, and Art Green, number 20, who will await this punt from Bob McAreedy. And McAreedy will be deep in his end zone, punting from about 14 yards inside his goal area. The ball scrimmaging from the Saskatchewan 1-yard line. Good punt. Green awaits at his 38. And a fine return by Art Green into the Saskatchewan 28-yard line. And the Ottawa Rough Riders will really have field position. It is first down Ottawa at the Saskatchewan 28-yard line. Art Green. Green gets inside the 25 to about the 24. Roger Gorey, 37, and Ken McEachran, number 20, there to make the tackle. But Ottawa's fullback picks up very close to 5 yards.
The Ottawa offense has been given opportunities by virtue of the excellent defensive efforts that their unit has put forward. They haven't really been able to capitalize up to this point, but with this kind of field position, if they can hold on to that ball, avoid turnovers, certainly they could be expected to put 3 on the board, if not a major.
6 minutes left in the opening quarter. No score. 2nd and 6 Ottawa. Green could not hang on. He had a wall of blockers in front of him. Clemens hit him right in the hands. He dropped the ball.
Tommy Clemens is not too happy. He just walked back after he saw that happen. Earlier, he had thrown the little swing to John Palizzetti. He couldn't hold on. That screen was well set up. There appeared to be a lot of room for him with the wave of blockers in front. But Art Green, anticipating the run rather than concentrating on the pass, was not able to hold on.
So Jerry Organ will try the field goal from just outside the 30-yard line. Molly McGee is the only back in the Saskatchewan end zone. Organ puts it up, and it is good. The Ottawa Rough Riders have gone out in front, 3-0.
They had a punt into the wind, giving us field position, and we held the field position. As you know, Saskatchewan had a pretty tough defensive team, and they held us, but we got in field position, and Jerry popped one through, put us ahead. First score is always good to have.
Every field goal has added significance. So 31 yards gives us 3 points. We're ahead. It really encourages the troops.
In every game, there's 2 or 3 plays that determine the outcome, and that could have been one of them. Anytime you can hold them to a field goal, that's a whole lot better than a touchdown.
They will not take a kickoff. They will scrimmage the ball at the 35-yard line. Saskatchewan first down, trailing 3-0. Lancaster to Molnar. He couldn't get it. Just beyond his reach. And so it'll be 2nd and 10. Saskatchewan moving against the wind in this opening quarter. As Ottawa, as Mike has mentioned, capitalizing on stout defense to contain Saskatchewan in their end of the field, coming up with good field position. And over the year, this is how these two clubs fared. And you can see not very much to choose offensively. 2nd and 10, Saskatchewan at their 35. McGee hit instantly by wonderful Mons at the 38. The gain will be 3 yards. It'll be 3rd and 7, and Saskatchewan will again be punting.
Ronnie Lancaster had sent Rhett Dawson and Bob Richardson deep, trying to open it up for Molly McGee, number 32, who you just saw go out of your picture. He's flaring to that right side, but Mons, of course, had the shallow flat coverage, works up extremely well, and they also had Mark Cosmos coming from the inside. So great reaction against this man, Molly McGee, to force Saskatchewan into another punting situation.
Bill Hatanaka, 16 at the top of your screen. Art Green, number 20 at the bottom. And newcomer Bob Myrick is the short man in the event that McAreedy's punt does not get much distance. Hatanaka takes it at the 33. Flags go down. But look at this return by Hatanaka. Touchdown, Bill Hatanaka.
And Pat, I think the marker on the play was no yards, but we'll have to wait and see.
The rookie from York University, Bill Hatanaka, returns the punt 78 yards for the touchdown.
Watch how alertly he comes into that pack. Ted Provo there had him lined up and was more concerned about protecting the outside. Bob Macarini was the last man. Number 31 is trying to catch up with him at that point, but there was just no way that Lou Claire could catch Bill Hatanaka before he got into that end zone. Bill Hatanaka, you know, Grey Cups very often become the treasure of young rookies like Bill Hatanaka because they come up with big plays. You can go back to Red's story years ago in the 30s and what he did for the Argonauts. That play by Bill Hatanaka certainly will be something that he'll remember for years to come.
4 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in this opening quarter, and the underdog Ottawa Rough Riders can grab a 10-0 lead if Jerry Organ is successful on this point after. It is good. Oregon converts the scintillating 75-yard punt return by York University graduate Bill Hatanaka.
It's a turning point like in a football game. A block kick, a return punt, an interception, a fumble turns the game around, turns momentum around. This is what that did.
The touchdown run by Hatanaka was just a great play on his behalf. They had a wall formed. We hadn't had a punt return on us all season. In fact, what's ironic about the whole thing is I saw that wall forming, but because of the great blocks by, I believe, Cameron and Cosmos, I was taken out of the play.
Bob Macarini, the last man, 31. Lou Claire trying to chase him down from behind, but Hatanaka, with his outstanding speed, is able to put Ottawa in front 9-0, followed, of course, by Jerry Organ's convert to make it 10.
And that was all the scoring in the first quarter as Clements attempted to connect to Tony Gabriel, but Ted Provo broke up the play. For Saskatchewan, Ron Lancaster began finding the range, hitting Rhett Dawson, good for 15 yards, ball close to midfield. The first quarter ended, though, with Ottawa up by 10. Back for the second quarter after this.
From our camera high in the sky, you see the look at Exhibition Park here at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto as the Ottawa Rough Riders had 63 net offensive yards compared to 48 for Saskatchewan. But the story, as Mike Wadsworth has pointed out, has been Ottawa's defensive struggle to this point. They have played tight, they've played tough, and really the only big break of the quarter was that 78-yard punt return by Bill Hatanaka. But Saskatchewan now has the win, and they have the greatest catch-up quarterback in the history of the CFL, Ronnie Lancaster, at the controls with first down at his own 48. Lancaster for McGee. He makes the catch. Al Brenner makes the tackle as flags go down. Probably interference, the call against Brenner, but McGee did an outstanding job to hang on to the ball.
I think they're suggesting that Al Brenner came in a little too quickly. You'll see McGee coming as the third man to that right side. Richardson and Dawson are wider at the top of your screen. Coming into the deep middle, Al Brenner moves up definitely before the ball has arrived. However, Molly McGee did an outstanding job of holding on to the ball in any event. Ron Lancaster now with successive throws to Rhett Dawson and Molly McGee has the Riders on the march.
23 yards the gain by Saskatchewan. First down at the Ottawa 39. Lancaster for Dawson. He had tripped, and by the time he got up, the ball was beyond him.
Good coverage effective that side as well by Rod Woodward and Al Brenner, but undoubtedly Rhett Dawson, in trying to work free of their coverage, his slip had just caused a misfiring and timing between he and Ronnie Lancaster. Lancaster, of course, anticipating the cut he was going to make, was throwing to a spot. Dawson couldn't get there.
Actually, it's a very good day for the Grey Cup game as you look at Ronnie Lancaster's brilliant CFL career. The wind is a factor, but it is not too cold that the players can't operate efficiently. Ottawa with 6 deep backs in there. Lancaster on the throw to Patterson. First down at the Ottawa 25-yard line.
Well, the first catch was phenomenal. It was an out to the wide side of the field and felt good to make that initial catch. And really, the way the coverages were set, I felt like, and I did say this to Ron Lancaster in the second quarter, look, I can catch a lot of balls if you're willing to go to me. I think, both inside receivers, we can have a good day today.
When quarterbacks start to struggle a little bit or they need to get things going, you're going to look for somebody you can trust. And we needed to get things going, and you make that throw and then things start happening.
Leif Pedersen from Toronto went to Otterbein University, a 3-year veteran with Saskatchewan, gives them first down at the Ottawa 25. The Western Riders on the move. Quickly to Bob Richardson, he could not hang on.
I think it was Larry Cameron actually doing a great job of getting from his middle linebacking position into Richardson and just knocked the ball out of his hands just after he caught it.
It is 2nd and 10 Saskatchewan. Pedersen makes the reception, has the first down into the Ottawa 13. Al Brenner, number 13, makes the tackle, but another Saskatchewan first down as the Western Riders come back.
Well, Ronnie Lancaster been going to that quick look into Bob Richardson, the tight end. This time he comes back to the other side. The secondary had been deepening on that defensive right, and Leif Pedersen was open for the quick look in. Here it is again. You see Pedersen from his slot back position just breaking into the open. The secondary was deep. The linebackers weren't there.
Lancaster is 7 for 11 in passing so far. First down at the Ottawa 13. They trail 10-0. Lancaster into the end zone, no good. Intended for Missouri, with Wayne Tosh going high in the air with the Saskatchewan intended receiver.
Ronnie Lancaster had also looked short initially to Leif Pedersen. On that play, he had just broken out short to the sideline. Mark Cosmos giving good coverage there. We saw a moment ago Coach George Brancato looking on anxiously. He knows these Western Riders are capable of staying into the game despite the 10-point disadvantage. Here's another look right now at Missouri going high for the ball, with the outstanding coverage provided by Wayne Tosh, number 17.
12 minutes, 40 seconds left to play in the half. Ottawa 10, Saskatchewan nothing. Lancaster on 2nd and 10. Throws complete to Pedersen. He should have the first down depending upon the placement of the ball. Peter Crepin, number 10, made the tackle. Now, where do they spot the ball? If it's inside the 3, it'll be a first down. Outside, it will not. And it appears that they have spotted it outside the 3-yard line. So this would bring up a 3rd and inches situation for Saskatchewan, and I rather suspect they would go for the first down.
Well, on that particular play, as we take another look at it, Leif Pedersen again is the slot back to the left side, just running straight down on Crepin, driving him back and then curling in at about that area, but they are short by about a yard or a little less. So Coach John Payne has opted, it appears, to go for the first down yardage.
When Ronnie starts having success, because he's as cool as they come, Ronnie sits back. He doesn't ever get excited. Yeah, I don't think he sweats on the field. We're sweating because we know if he gets on top, we will not win this football game.
99 out of 100 times, you'll see Lancaster hand to his fullback. On a situation like this, look for Molnar. He takes it. Now, I don't know. This is going to be very close. This will be a fraction of an inch one way or the other.
Let's take a look at it from our ground level camera. Notice how deep it is that Ronnie Lancaster is handing off to Molnar. It's a slow developing play for short yardage. That allows the defensive unit a chance to get in and submarine, to come on the attack and to create problems. It's not the kind of quick hitting play you'd expect with short yardage. They require a measurement on this one.
Ball is spotted right at the 3, and if that is the case, they will not have the first down, and they don't. The Ottawa defense has come up big again.
Our defense was playing tough enough football at that time that we would never give them a long pass or a long play. I mean, they had to work for everything they got, and this is what that did. It took the ball out of their hands for a while, and they had to go back and work all over again.
From the offensive side of the point, offensive side of the ball, I've always been a believer that we should be able to stand over the center and tell them we're running right here, and they shouldn't be able to stop us for a yard. And they did.
Well, you have to give tremendous credit to that Ottawa defense. Certainly no one coming into the game was giving them the credit that they were giving the Saskatchewan defensive unit. But they have been dominant to this point in the first half of play. But I also question the usage of a slow developing play on short yardage. Time and time again you're seeing it, and I always wonder why, because it gives the defense the advantage to come on the attack, and that's what Ottawa did.
First down, Ottawa at their own 3-yard line. They lead 10-0 with 12 minutes left to play in this first half. The give is to Green. Green fights his way out over the 5 to about the 6. Cleveland Van, the middle linebacker, brings him down just at about the 6-yard line. Ottawa not trying to get too fancy at this point. They just want to move the ball out from their own area. They have a 10-0 lead, and the defense coming up very, very big in this opening half.
Pat, some people may question why I made the comment I did. You'll see so often in the States that kind of a handoff on short yardage play, but in Canada with our early motion and the yard off the ball, to me it doesn't make any sense to go on short yardage unless you go with the quarterback sneak or the quick hitting play.
Again, this is Green. Green, with good second effort, gets out close to the 9. He'll be well short of the first down, and Ottawa will be forced to punt. And Saskatchewan once again will enjoy excellent field position as the Ottawa punting unit comes out onto the field. George Brancato, his club was an underdog coming into this game, must be feeling a great sense of satisfaction, but he knows it is far from over despite the fact they lead it 10-0.
He's got to be a little concerned right now about this Saskatchewan club getting possession. Certainly well into Ottawa territory. Their punt returners are standing at about the Ottawa 43 because Oregon is kicking into a win.
Jerry Oregon stands 8 yards in his own end zone. He's had 2 punts, averaged 44 yards as you saw, and gets a good one away into this wind. Pedersen at the 43 is just drilled to the turf by Jeff Turcotte, who is always first man downfield. The run back is 0. The punt is 35 yards. And that's pretty good kicking into that wind as the Ottawa Rough Riders continue to lead it 10-0 with 10 minutes and 36 seconds left to play in this first half. Saskatchewan needs some points. They had an opportunity. Ottawa closed the door. Let's see what Ronnie Lancaster and that offensive unit can do now. On first down at the Ottawa 43. Molnar has the first down. Crepin drags him to the turf at the 30-yard line, but there are flags on the play.
Tremendous action, though, by Ronnie Lancaster, looking to his left side, threatening that quick look into Bob Richardson before throwing it out to the right to Steve Molnar. Whether or not that Saskatchewan play will stand, we'll have to get the officials ruling.
Procedure is the call against Saskatchewan. Ottawa will accept the penalty. It'll be 1st and 15 Saskatchewan at the Ottawa 47 when we return. Ronnie Lancaster, 8 for 13 so far, still trying to get his club on the board. On 1st and 15. Throws the screen to McGee. McGee will be very close to a first down in at the Ottawa 33-yard line. 9 minutes and 49 seconds remain in this opening half of the 1976 Grey Cup game. It is a first down Saskatchewan. They trail 10-0. They have the ball at the Ottawa 32-yard line. Lancaster over the middle, complete to Richardson. He drops the ball. Saskatchewan recovers it, but now do they rule a completed pass?
I believe they have, Pat, and I think they should have too from our vantage point, looking at it the first time in any event. Bob Richardson was looking for the quick look in and just hooked short. Wide open on the play. You'll see him at the top of your screen just working back into the middle area. You see his arms waving. There it is. He has the ball. Then he's stripped of it at this point and it comes free. Ken Moore, 57, has a shot at it, but Leif Pedersen is the man who comes up with it. Saskatchewan has the ball, 2nd and about 2 at the 25.
Saskatchewan was in very close to Ottawa's goal area just moments ago. They're threatening again as Molnar takes the handoff, is grabbed by Rudy Sims and appears to be short of the first down.
Very quick penetration by number 65, Rudy Sims. It appeared that Mike Dirks was just doing a full block with center Gary Brandt, number 54, but Sims was able to beat the block of Brandt and hold Molnar short. Just across the line of scrimmage, they still require about 2 yards for the first down.
They will not gamble this time as we look at Rudy Sims.
Big play by Rudy Sims, the veteran of that defensive line, Pat, and he's played some great football for them over the years.
I was just going to say that Bob McAreedy in the field goal unit has come out onto the field. Lancaster will hold. He'll spot the ball at the Ottawa 32, and McAreedy will try to put the Western champions on the board.
33-yard goal attempt.
It is up, and it is good. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are on the board and trail now by just a converted touchdown. The score is Ottawa 10, Saskatchewan 3, with 8 minutes and 13 seconds left to play in this first half. It is first down, Ottawa, at their 35-yard line. Tom Clements, a 3-time All-American from Notre Dame, with the handoff to Art Green. Green is upended by Jesse O'Neill after a gain of maybe 3.
2nd and 8.
Ottawa running a very conservative attack throughout this first half of play. They've tried to go to Green, generally off tackle to the right or to the left side. On that last occasion, they came back to the weak side. Jesse O'Neill, however, was able to defeat the block of Jim Koo.
The ball is spotted just outside the 37, so make it 2nd and 8, Ottawa at that point. As you look at Art Green, number 20, 9 carries today, 41 yards. Clements, complete to Foley. He has the first down. There are flags down behind the line of scrimmage. Jim Foley made the first down reception. Holding will be the call against Ottawa.
Well, you made the comment about Ottawa's offense sputtering a bit. Certainly penalties have been a big factor there. Here's another time Ottawa has a first down, but it will be called back. They had Gabriel and Kuzik wide to the left. Jim Foley was the only man on that right side, and he was able to get open, but it'll all go for naught.
It's disconcerting, obviously, but I do recall that we had some success, and we would always have a penalty, and most of the penalties, I think, or a lot of them were holding, and at one point I told the offensive line, if you feel you're going to hold, just let the guy go, and I'll try to avoid him one-on-one, because we can't, it's hard to overcome those penalties.
Ottawa's had 5 penalties, Saskatchewan 2. Ottawa called for holding on that previous play. It negates the first down, makes it 2nd and about 18. As you look at Tom Clements' passing average today, only 2 for 7.
A couple have been dropped, though, Pat.
And he comes into this game averaging 60% completions. Clements gets out over the 40 to about the 42. He'll be short of the first down. Roger Gorey flattened him at about the 41, and Ottawa will be punting. A 13-yard gain by Tom Clements, but because of the holding penalty, they'll come up about 5 yards short. What a career this young fella had at Notre Dame. 3 bowl games, 3 wins, Rookie of the Year last year, Eastern Conference All-Star this year. Tom Clements from Notre Dame.
You know, some people suggest that Conrad Holloway is a scrambler in that unit, but you saw a look at the number of carries and the yardage that he's accumulated over the season. He's a pretty fair runner himself.
Jerry Organ's punt is by Steve Mazurek. And Mazurek gets all the way back to the Ottawa 45. Flags are down. No yards will be the call as Jerry Organ cut the legs out from underneath Mazurek. A 24-yard return.
Do you know what it feels like to kick a ball like 25 yards or whatever it was in a Grey Cup game? And of course, then I've got to pursue it because I have a chance of recovering it. It's so short. And I did end up making a rather spectacular shoestring tackle, which redeemed me somewhat because I presume he could have gone a long way.
It's a fine return, however, to the Ottawa 45. As you point out, Saskatchewan quite happy to wave off that no yards penalty.
So the Western Conference champion Saskatchewan Roughriders have a first down at the Ottawa 45. They trail 10-3 with 6 minutes, 19 seconds left to play in this first half. You never count the Western champions out with this man at the controls. Steve Molnar. Good hole as Molnar gets in close to the 37-yard line. He'll have an advance of 8, upended by Mark Cosmos, number 50. Cosmos, a veteran of Grey Cup competition. He was with Montreal when they won in 70, with Hamilton when they won in 72, with Ottawa when they won in 73. So he's no stranger to the pressure of the biggest game of the year. There's a good look at him. The big outside linebacker of the Rough Riders, Mark Cosmos. And there's a better look. 2nd and 2, Saskatchewan. McGee makes a one-handed grab and will be very close to the first down at the 36-yard line. Peter Krepp and Kenny Moore make the tackle for Ottawa, but let's see where they spot that ball.
Well, 2nd and 2. Ronnie Lancaster threatens through the air. He had Leif Pedersen going deep. Molly McGee coming out of the backfield, flattening here. He has to turn for the ball, however, which slows him up slightly. Ken Moore, number 57, and Peter Krepp, number 10, moving in quickly to stop him. I'm sure he'll be a little short, Pat, depending upon the placement of that football.
Well, there's a good look at the ball. The sticks are out, and as you suggested, Mike, just a little bit short, maybe a foot and a half.
Down and about the length of the football.
So now they bring in Roth and Van. They're going to go for it. This is the second offensive gamble of the game by Saskatchewan. They were unsuccessful in at the Ottawa 3. Let's see how they make out just outside the Ottawa 35.
We'll see whether or not they go with a quick hitting type of play or the same type of delayed attempt. Mind you, when you're less than a yard, in fact, I would say about a foot or less, the quarterback sneak very often is the best in these circumstances.
And I think that's very conceivably what we may see. Lancaster did it twice in the Western Final, kept it himself. He does. He has the first down, but flags are down on the field. Now, did we have a procedure call against Saskatchewan, or did the Ottawa defense jump offside?
Well, while we're waiting that call, Pat, I just want to comment that Molly McGee has 5 receptions for 48 yards in this game already.
Offside, Ottawa the call. Saskatchewan will accept the 5-yard penalty, and they will have a first down just outside the Ottawa 30-yard line.
Well, there you see Larry Cameron in the middle, just trying to get that little edge. The officials say he encroached on the 1-yard restraining area. That was the reason for the offside.
5 minutes, 10 seconds left to play in the first half. Saskatchewan threatening to tie it up at 10. They trail 10-3 at this moment. The catch for the first down at the 15 in front of Wayne Tosher, makes the tackle.
We knew we had to stop Ronnie. We even knew that we had to get him out of his pocket. We were a blitzing team, and I called the defenses, and the blitz came from the outside all the time, the 2 outside linebackers. Ronnie knew where we were coming from, and he would wall us off.
Lancaster throws complete to Mazurek. Mazurek will score. Touchdown. Saskatchewan is within a point of tying it, but Ottawa is complaining that the Saskatchewan offense picked them on the play.
Well, a tremendous pattern here. Leif Pedersen, Steve Mazurek crossing, Pedersen to the outside. You see number 71 there, but it's Mazurek who caught the ball coming into the middle. He just winds his way across. A fine block there by number 25, Brett Dawson on wonderful Mons to allow Steve Mazurek to get very close to the Ottawa Rough Riders as Bob McAreedy will now try the tying point.
High pass from center, flags go down. McAreedy is good. We've got a tie score at 10, depending upon the outcome of this penalty flag.
We were throwing underneath a lot, as you think about it. We weren't throwing the ball a long way downfield. Ottawa's defense wasn't allowing that. We were playing our normal game at that time, which was move the sticks, control the ball, and I've said for many years, if you make enough first downs, which is your job, you will run out of real estate and get to the end zone.
We are tied up at 10 with 4 minutes and 4 seconds left to play in the opening half of the 1976 Grey Cup game.
Get pumped for Grey Cup Sunday starting at 3:30 Eastern. Then it's the battle for the 88th Grey Cup at 5:30 Eastern when the BC Lions take on the Montreal Alouettes. The 88th Grey Cup tomorrow on CBC.
Ottawa led at 10-0. Saskatchewan has come back with 10 unanswered points when they have had the favorable wind at their back. And this is going to go right to the wire as most people anticipated.
Well, it's certainly been the passing of Ronnie Lancaster that has allowed the Saskatchewan Roughriders to come back. Apart from one short run by Steve Molnar, really it's all been through the air, 146 yards on the strength of Lancaster's passing arm that has also allowed for that 10 points.
13 for 18, Lancaster passing today. He was with Ottawa in the 1960 Grey Cup when they won. He beat Ottawa in 1966. He's looking for his third Grey Cup victory as Bob McAready prepares to kick it away for Saskatchewan. Art Green takes it at his 10. A good return by Art Green as he's forced out by Jim Marshall at the 37-yard line. And let's go down now to Don Whitman and with Steve Mazurek.
Steve Mazurek, you put the Rough Riders back on even terms. What type of pattern was that?
It was a pick route we play, and just great play by everybody. Red Dawson threw a great block at the end there, I saw.
Well, Steve, we're taking a look at that particular play. You had to cut back behind some blocking to follow it in.
Yeah, I did. Like I say, Red Dawson and the whole line did a great job. Especially Red. He was the only one I could see personally, but he did a great job.
You're behind 10-0. You fought back. Can you continue this momentum?
Sure, we sure can. We'll do it.
Okay, thanks very much, Steve Mazurek. Congratulations. Back up to you, Pat.
First down, Ottawa. Clements on the move. All alone is Kuzik. Does he hang on? No. They rule no catch.
Well, I'll tell you, that was the chance of a lifetime because Ray Odoms was on single coverage with Kuzik. He bumped him as he was trying to protect his own ground, but Odoms went out of bounds. Gary Kuzik had that entire sideline. There's the bump right there that sends Odom down and out of bounds. Kuzik is all alone. Clements, of course, was running away from that pursuit, eventually got it to him, but Kuzik couldn't hold on. A tremendous opportunity presented to the Ottawa Rough Riders, but because of the great pursuit by the Saskatchewan defense, Tommy Clements couldn't find Kuzik in time. When he did, the ball was underthrown and Kuzik couldn't hold on.
Well, you mentioned, Mike, that they had collided, and obviously they collided in such a situation that the referee feels there was offensive interference. And so, the pass would not have been ruled complete anyway. Ottawa takes a 10-yard penalty and now have the ball back at their 27-yard line, 1st and 20. Clements throws complete to Foley. He drops the ball. Foley had the ball. Like Kuzik, could not squeeze it. It goes incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 20.
Whenever you drop a pass and see a flag on a play after you've caught a pass and it's against the wind that you're trying to struggle to get back into the game, and they just tied the score, you're feeling the pressure.
If things aren't going your way, you have to forget about that last play and move forward, because if you focus on what went wrong previously, then you're not going to be able to perform the next play or the play after that. So even though it's difficult, you have to forget about it and go get the next play.
We're taking a look now at Molly McGee, who seems to have been shaken up on an earlier play. I believe that's Molly McGee, number 32.
Yes, it is. McGee is being taped. You're an old ball player. What's that, a rib injury? It looks like it.
Could very well be that it's a matter of his ribs being damaged slightly. We hope not severely. He's been a great performer in this first half.
2nd and 20, and Clements again looking to go to the air. Going deep, picked off by Ted Provost. And Provost is forced out inside the Ottawa 20-yard line.
An interception always gets things rolling for you. And it was just an overthrown pass by Clemens, and I happened to be playing it right and intercepted it, and so that got the momentum in our favor.
Tom Clements is not particularly hurried on this play. It's a badly thrown ball. Tony Gabriel was much more shallower than that, covered by Goree. Provo in the deep middle position was able to pick it off. Saskatchewan with a dramatic turnaround.
We had a great secondary. We had great players with great abilities. They made the plays. Unfortunately for Ottawa, Our guys made those plays, but they had a great quarterback. They have great receivers. It's just that our players made the particular play at that particular point in time.
We've got 2 minutes, 45 seconds left to play in this first half. It's tied at 10. Saskatchewan, who trailed at 1 point, 10-0, threatening to take over the lead. They have the ball at the Ottawa 25, first down. Lancaster quickly to Richardson. He breaks the tackle at the 10. Touchdown, Bob Richardson.
They weren't going to really do anything that day that surprised us. So the receivers, we'd practiced it all week, safety blitzes, look for the ball, bang, gone. And I've always been a believer that if you turn the outside guy free, I don't care how fast he is or how good he is, if the quarterback and receiver read it properly, the ball will be gone before he can get you.
Ronnie Lancaster, the great veteran, read the safety blitz from Al Brenner. The linebackers were coming as well. He looked for that quick hitter to Bob Richardson.
Ronnie Lancaster was probably the least sacked quarterback in the league. And it was because of his experience and his ability to get rid of the ball. He had a quick release. He was smart. He knew the defense. He knew prior to the ball being snapped that they were going to blitz.
Right after by McElready is good. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are out in front 17-10 with 2 minutes, 33 seconds left. What a play by Bob Richardson.
Just a tremendous job by quarterback Ronnie Lancaster with all of those years of experience being able to detect the blitz coming from that Ottawa defense that has been so strong. The perfect call, of course, against that safety blitz with the linebackers coming as well. The quick look into your tight end. And Bob Richardson with that amazing power, able to just drag Rod Woodward for the last 5 yards.
He broke the tackle, really, of Woodward and dragged Crepe and Stennerson with him into the end zone. So Saskatchewan is out in front by 7 as Bob McElready prepares to kick it off. And what a tremendous comeback this has been by the Western Riders. The ball fell off the kicking tee, so McElready tees it up once again. Ottawa led 10-0 after the first quarter. Saskatchewan has come back with 17 unanswered points, and it was the interception by Provost that set it up. McElready dribbles this one down to Ken Moores.
On the short kick, Turcotte.
Actually, it's Jeff Turcotte out to the 40. Jeff Turcotte, number 67, took that kickoff by Bob McElready, gets out to his own 40, and the Rough Riders, with 2 minutes and 29 seconds left to play, are now trailing by a converted touchdown.
Here's that touchdown play by Bob Richardson. You see that middle area open. Rod Woodward, you're quite correct. He just broke from him. Peter Crepin is right there. Stennerson 23, but he's able to get into the end zone.
First down, Ottawa. They have not moved the ball effectively offensively. This is the wingback reverse to Jim Foley. Oh, what a play by Ray Odoms. First of all, he shut the corner down, then got underneath the ball carrier to upend him after a gain of maybe 3.
Good job by middle linebacker Cleveland Van, number 72. Although he didn't get into the play, he used up the block on number 61, Charlie Brandon, that you see right there. That allowed Ray Odoms to come in unattended and make the block against Foley. There's Van 72 working against Brandon, prevented Foley from cracking back to the inside, also used up that block, as we pointed out, by number 61, Brandon.
Ray Odoms, whom you just saw a moment ago, in this ball game because of the injury to Paul Williams, both former Winnipeg Blue Bombers. On 2nd and 9, Clements throws for Foley, and it is intercepted by Manchuk 75. Saskatchewan ball at the Ottawa 51. What a play by Bill Manchuk.
Tom Clements having a tough second quarter. We saw Ted Provost earlier taking an interception off him. This play, he's looking to the left, coming back to the right, trying to hit Foley. But what linebacking play this is by Bill Manchuk to be able to follow him right to the sideline and come up with that big interception. Here we see it, Manchuk falling off with Foley right there, recovering, following him to the sideline. Foley had an edge on him, but the ball thrown a little behind.
There's no question the wind literally was coming out of our sails. We were making mistakes, penalty after penalty, dropped passes, interceptions, poor kicks. I mean, none of it was going our way.
Tommy is the type of player that doesn't get shaken up. He's the kind of guy that if he throws an interception, so come back next time and I'll get him. He's not a guy that'll pout on it or doubt on it. The play's over, and he's going to go back and play just as hard as he did before.
Minute 40 left. Steve Molnar is ridden down by Mike Finucci, back of the line of scrimmage. Flags are down. We'll await the referee's decision on this one, as Finucci broke in very quickly to nail Steve Molnar about 7 yards back. Holding the call against Steve Mazurek, number 70. Ottawa will, in all probability, decline the penalty because they were able to nail the Saskatchewan ball carrier for a big loss anyway. And so it will be second down.
Well, the only thing is this, though, Pat. They have to be concerned about the field position that Saskatchewan has now with just a minute and a half left to play, so
they accepted they declined the penalty and make it 2nd and 18.
Right. Pardon.
Molly McGee is out of the lineup, as you saw moments ago, being taped up with a rib injury. As Lancaster goes down in the arms of Mike Raines, way back at the 34-yard line of Saskatchewan.
When we stopped them late in the second period, we felt we were going to get the edge. It was one of those things where that last card you're dealt is a good one before you go into halftime, so now it's our advantage.
In the back of your mind, you want as an offensive player, you want to go out and do well, but you know your defense is performing well, so they're giving you time to work out the kinks and figure out a way to move the ball. So that was a positive factor for us.
Well, that defensive left side for Ottawa coming up big on 2 successive plays. Mike Finucci last time, number 78. Mike Raines this time doing an outstanding job of getting in on Ronnie Lancaster, who was trying to roll to that side.
It'll be 3rd and about 37 yards to go, Saskatchewan, with a minute 25 left in this first half, as you take a good close-up look at Mike Raines. Art Green at the top of your screen, and Bill Hatanaka, number 16, who returned a punt 78 yards in the opening quarter for a touchdown, back awaiting this punt from McAready, who just got it away under a heavy rush from Ottawa. Green, at his 43, goes down at the 45 in the arms of Tim Roth, number 66, and so with a minute and 1 second left, after that 33-yard punt by McAready, Ottawa has a first down just outside their 45. Al Brenner very nearly was in to block that punt. McAready accepted a high pass from center, and that gave Brenner the time he needed to get in there, but just missed the ball. Tom Clements has gone all the way at quarterback for Ottawa. He's in there now, number 2. The draw to Art Green, and he's met right in the hole by Frank Landy, number 62.
Clements possibly a little shaken up by the 2 interceptions he's given up with less than 3 minutes remaining in the second quarter. You would expect with just 1 minute remaining to play and down 7 points with the field advantage they have, they may be going to the air, trying to work that clock and trying to get on the board, but he opts for the draw play right off the bat.
It is 2nd and 9. Clemens for Kuzik makes the catch at the 30-yard line. Now, what is the ruling?
Let's take a look at Gary Kuzik. He does a great job here of breaking off his pattern. It appears initially that he is covered short. You see Provost in the picture. Number 12, Ray Odoms, is there as well. Now he breaks it upfield, gets open here, has to turn for the ball before he's pushed out of bounds by number 10, Ted Provost. There was quite a commotion at the Ottawa bench. Whether or not they were alleging that Kuzik was roughed at that point or not, we don't know.
Mike, I think what the concern was, and it was, in fact, a penalty flag thrown, Clemens had crossed the line of scrimmage before delivering the ball, and so the pass is incomplete, and it will bring up a 3rd down.
Now, what I was concerned about, though, is right at the Ottawa bench where Kuzik went out, because Brad Caddo and the rest of that bench were quite upset. I think they were suggesting that Ted Provost had pursued Kuzik out of bounds and that there ought to have been a rough play call. I wasn't able to see it because of all the players at the bench itself.
It is third down with 40 seconds left to play in the half. Saskatchewan leading at 17-10, and Ottawa forced to punt as Jerry Organ drops back inside his 35-yard line. Good high punt by Organ forces Pedersen back inside his 20. Turcotte is down quickly, and flags go down. The indication, no yards against Jeff Turcotte. 44 yards into the wind. The punt by Jerry Organ. The no yards penalty will give Saskatchewan much better field position out around their 27-yard line.
And I'll tell you, you see the players in your picture right now discussing matters. Tempers are wearing a little thin. Both clubs very edgy in this hard-fought game. Initially, the skirmish appeared to be between 58 Sam Holden of the Western Riders and 67 Turcotte of Ottawa. Mark Cosmos, the defensive captain of the Eastern Rider Club, now just trying to get things sorted out and calm that team down. What they don't need are any more penalties. Penalties have been a factor against the Riders, particularly in any offensive marches they have attempted to put together.
With 31 seconds left in this first half, does Ronnie Lancaster opt for the big play? Don't be surprised if he does. He has a first down at his 28-yard line. 192-87, the total offense favoring Saskatchewan. They lead it 17-10 and go with a single back in that backfield. That is Steve Molnar. Molnar gets out to about the 39, which will be a first down. Wonderful Mons making the tackle for Ottawa.
Well, when you talk about that 192 yards, Pat, most of that coming in the second quarter, almost all of it off the passing arm of Ronnie Lancaster, coming through with a kind of performance that CFL fans have learned to expect from him, and that Western fans in particular were hoping for this afternoon.
He's good on 14 of 19 so far for 171 yards. 15 seconds left to play in the half. First down, Saskatchewan at their own 39. Lancaster going deep. No good. Looking for Brian O'Hara, and the play was well broken up by that deep secondary of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, it's almost here, and I'll tell you, even though you have the lead, you don't want to take a risk, but there's no risk involved in that ball because it traveled so far, further than most of Bob McAreedy's punts. But Brian O'Hara is certainly not a regular performer for the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Very close to a moment of glory there.
Well, Lancaster at 38 years of age threw the ball better this year than at any time in his 17 years, as George Brancato obviously concerned after his club jumped out in front 10-0. They trail 17-10, and this will likely be the final play of the first half as Molnar takes the handoff. Gets out over the 45, upended by Rod Woodward as the gun sounds to end the first half of play. A complete reversal. Ottawa jumped out in front 10-0 when they had the wind advantage, but in fact, it was a great punt return of 78 yards by Bill Hatanaka that enabled them to get out in front 10-0. And then they changed ends, and Saskatchewan scored 17 unanswered points. They lead it 17-10 on touchdowns by Mazurek and Richardson and the field goal by Bob McAreedy.
Pat Marsden and Mike Wadsworth with a first half call of the 76 Grey Cup game. At the half, Saskatchewan led the Ottawa Rough Riders 17-10, thoroughly dominated the stats. In those days, by the way, CTV and CBC split the telecast. CTV at the first half, thus Marsden and Wadsworth, coming up the second half with Don Chevrier and Frank Rigney. On this Saturday afternoon, a reminder, 2 local 4 Eastern game faces. Mark Lee talks with the incoming CFL Commissioner Mike Lisco at 2:30 Mountain, 4:30 Eastern. Scott Oak and Karen Lee Gartner, men's World Cup downhill racing from nearby Lake Louise. We're going to take a break. Up next, we'll join Chris Walby. It's the 3rd year for Walby's Warriors. We'll go out to the field after this message, check in with Mark Lee and Chris Walby.
Good afternoon from McMahon Stadium in Calgary. We're at the half of the 1976 Grey Cup Classic as we get set to introduce the 3rd annual Walby's Warriors. I'm Mark Lee along with the big man himself, Chris Walby. And Chris, Everywhere we've traveled across the country this year covering the CFL on CBC, you have been lobbied extensively by players who want to be picked this year, and you've had another tough year of decisions.
It has been an agonizing year, Mark. I mean, there's a lot of great players, a lot of players that deserve to be on this team. Unfortunately, I can't fill all the spots, so what I thought I'd do is to change the format a little bit. I thought I'd bring one guy from the East, one guy from the West, and then sprinkle in a couple honorable mentions, guys that just couldn't be on that select squad.
So a new format this year. I looked up the definition of warrior in the dictionary, and it says this: a person engaged in some struggle or conflict. But what is a Walby's warrior?
Hey, that's a great definition, but what I believe it is a guy that has no I in team. A guy that plays through pain. You can't take him off the football field. A guy that plays with passion. And a guy, most of all, that plays with heart.
Now, is there one guy who fits that description to a T?
You know what, you talk about it. Look in the dictionary under warrior. You're going to see a picture of this guy, Brett McNeil. He epitomizes what I think a warrior is.
Man, is he tough. In the offseason, he's going to have both of his knees and his shoulder operated on.
He is going in for the major overhaul.
All right, let's go to the first category of Walby's Warriors, the skill positions, the offensive stars.
This was Anthony Calvillo's season to step up and prove what he could do. That he wasn't just going through the motions, that he was the guy to carry the Alouettes. And you know what? This 28-year-old Utah State product took the job and ran with it. 27 touchdown passes, just 5 interceptions in the regular season. And after a slow start last Sunday, hey, he's got the Alouettes in the Grey Cup game. The big man nicknamed AC is getting the job done. At the age of 37, BC's Damon Allen isn't resting on his laurels. This Cal State quarterback merely led the CFL in passing this season with 4,840 yards. And he's shaken off the disappointment of last year's Western Final to lead the Lions into the Grey Cup. Allen, who surpassed Ron Lancaster's all-time passing yardage standard, is still a threat to run with the ball at any time. Allen won 2 Grey Cups as an Eskimo, but now, in his 5th season with the Lions, he's older, he's wiser, and he's still having a ball. Let's start the receiving core with Winnipeg's Robert Gordon. One of the good hands people. He's not real big, but he's definitely tough enough to haul in 89 catches this season. Good for nearly 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns. You bet this guy can play on my team. And Blue Bomber teammate Milt Stiegel's got to be there too. He makes all the plays and was second in the league in receiving yardage with 1,499 yards. The 6-year veteran is definitely a game breaker. And talk about consistency. Terry Vaughn is your man. 6 years in the CFL and 6 1,000-yard plus seasons. Hey, he's only 5'8", but always plays a big role in the offense. Vaughn had 4 great years with Calgary, and now in his 2nd season with the Eskimos, continues to sparkle. His 94 catches and 1,214 yards were personal bests. We lead off the running backs with the Diesel. Sean Millington. The big man loves the heavy going, and he'd rather run through you than around you. He rushed for over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns this season. Hey, Millington is an intense competitor, and whether he's running the ball or destroying someone on special teams, he has one goal: bringing the cup back to Vancouver. He's the main man, Mike Pringle, a 2-time Walby Warrior and the engine that drives Montreal's offense. 19 times Pringle found pay dirt at the end of his runs this season as he collected 1,778 yards on the ground. Tough to bring down? You bet. It takes a mountain of men to turn back this force. The Lions will have their hands full trying to stop the man that is Mike Pringle.
All right, Chris, those are the guys that get all the glory, they get all the ink, they get all the headlines.
And you know what? Way too much money.
They are the marquee players. How about the guys, though, that punctuate every play with the big hits? I'm talking about the players who deliver the pain, the linebackers, and the secondary.
You know what? These are the masters of disasters. What I like about these guys, Mark, is they have their own personal belief. And that is, if you come in their football park, you are entering their own personal house of pain.
You know what? I bet if you were picking Walby's Warriors back in 1976, 2 guys in this current Grey Cup Classic we're playing back, Mark Cosmos of Ottawa and Saskatchewan's Cleveland Van, would be on your roster.
Absolutely. But since the Cup is in Calgary this year, I'd also have to include guys like the big thumper, Wayne Harris. And of course, I would go down the road a little bit and probably invite our old friend, Dan Kepley.
You know what? Danny would be a Walby Warrior emeritus. All right, the linebackers are next.
Let's go to the quarterbacks of the defense, the linebackers. And start with the Bombers' Antonio Armstrong. This 27-year-old Texas A&M Aggie was an Eastern All-Star in 2000 and was a force on defense. 8 quarterback sacks, 71 tackles, and even found time to force a couple of fumbles. A key ingredient for years to come for the Winnipeg defense. Here's another linebacker I like, the Eskimos' Grant Carter. 6'3", 250 pounds, this 7-year veteran had stops with the Baltimore Stallions, Montreal Alouettes, and Winnipeg Blue Bombers, but finally seems to have found a home with the Edmonton Eskimos. A former defensive lineman turned linebacker this season, Carter chipped in with 67 tackles, a career high, 6 sacks, always around the ball, a real take charge guy, a player who takes no prisoners. Let's look at the last line of defense, the secondary, a place where there is nowhere to hide from any mistakes. Safety Greg Ferris has a couple of ingredients necessary to play the position, namely speed and toughness. The ability to make people pay for coming into his part of the football field is something Greg Ferris has excelled at. An All-Canadian in 2000, Ferris had 7 interceptions to lead the club and is one of the mainstays of the Calgary defense. Ferris will do whatever is necessary to keep the Calgary Stampeders a winner. When you're thinking ball hawk, think Davis Sanchez. An All-Canadian All-Star in 2000. This second-year Alouette excels at the quarterback position. He led the CFL in interceptions with 9, a great feat for a Canadian playing the quarterback position. Sanchez is a player who uses great smarts and explosive speed to create turnovers and is one of the main reasons the Montreal defense led the league in interceptions. If you're a receiver playing against Sanchez, be prepared for a very long, a very tough day at the office.
Chris, we've talked about the skill players.
Absolutely.
We've talked about the tough guys. Now the guys who don't get to touch the ball.
Oh, no. Listen to me, Mr. Mark Lee. I'm going to straighten you out on a couple points. 1, these guys are extremely tough. 2, they're extremely skilled. And 3, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We do get to touch the footballs,
yeah,
albeit it's only in practice.
Oh, big deal.
Hey, listen, you tell those guys it's no big deal.
Seriously, though, big man, we are talking about players the game can't do without.
Listen, I'm telling you what. If you're going to go into battle, and in this case, you want to win the battle of the trenches, you better make sure that you've got a great group of offensive linemen and defensive linemen to win the game.
You know what? Back in the 70s, the Ottawa Rough Riders called their defensive line capital punishment, and for good reason. Now in the year 2000, let's look at the defensive side of the line of scrimmage.
Let's look at the mean machines, the masters of disaster, the defensive line. Meet Joe Montford, or better yet, avoid him. He is an unstoppable force on the defense. He led the CFL with 20 quarterback kills. The 3rd year in a row he has led the league in this category. A 3-time Walby Warrior, Montford uses explosive speed off the line of scrimmage along with great strength to track down and destroy the enemy. He lives on the belief that no one can block him and that no one can stop him. Not so ordinary Joe Fleming. What a tremendous lineman who lives by the old adage, you play like you practice, and he practices with a game-like intensity. He will disrupt and dismantle not only your offensive game plan, but also your quarterback. You're talking Warriors, you got to talk about the big boys, the Hoggies, the O-line. How about number 59, Leo Groenwagen of the Edmonton Eskimos, the Iron Man, 252 straight games. The 4-time All-Stars, great strength and quickness to take his opponents everywhere they don't want to go. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. This big 6'5", 300-pound offensive tackle plays the game the way I love to watch it being played. Nasty. The 5th-year pro is a big reason that Hamilton's offensive line has allowed the least quarterback sacks against for 3 years in a row.
You know, Chris, they say that special teams is the most hazardous assignment in pro football.
You know, you're right, Mark. But we've talked about offense, we've talked about defense. Let's talk about special teams, or what I like to call the game breakers.
Yeah, those fearless kick returners who look up into the sky, waiting for the football, knowing full well that cover team is bearing down on them, trying to take their head off.
I remember in the Canadian League, we don't have the fair catch.
No, it's tough football for sure. The other category in special teams, your favorite position, kickers.
You know what? That's funny you say that, because these are guys I normally would not hang around with. But if you're going to have a full Warrior team, we've got to include them.
Okay, the kickers, but first, the returners, special teams, the next category on the Wallabies Warriors.
What about the game breakers? The players who can change the momentum of the game with just one play. Albert Johnson III of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers had an outstanding rookie campaign. You can call him Mr. Everything, as he led the CFL in all-purpose yards with over 3,200. Hey, 1,500 kickoff return yards, throwing 50 receptions for nearly 800 yards. He put the E in excitement and is one of the reasons that Winnipeg ended a 4-year playoff drought. Then there is a little big man in Saskatchewan, number 84, Eric Gulliford, the 3-year CFL pro who was an exceptional receiver, as evidenced by his 73 catches and 8 touchdowns. This former Arizona State star was a great contributor to Saskatchewan's success this year every time he touched the ball, either receiving or returning the pigskin on punt returns, which he did for 651 yards. Let's look at the granddaddy of all kickers. Here's Louis Pasaglia, the only member of CFL's 25-year club. Yes, the Simon Fraser grad entered the league way back in 1976. He hasn't thrown many touchdowns, but he's been kicking up a storm. How about 40 of 44 field goal attempts? No wonder they held a Love Ya Louie Day for the guy. 5 of 5 in the Western Final. And hey, let's take a look at these career stats. Field goals, 875, and of course the big number, 25 years. The Warriors wouldn't be complete without our favorite punter. Back for the second time as a Wallaby Warrior is Noel Prefontaine of the Toronto Argonauts. He's a kicker, and sometimes you have to wonder about these guys, but not Prefontaine. Not only is he a punishing punter, but he's a punishing tackler. He led the league with a 47.5-yard average. He dares you to return one against him. But it's his feel for the game, his passion he brings to the playing field. That's why Noel Prefontaine is a Warrior.
Wow, Louis Pasaglia, 25 years in the CFL, and he's going out into retirement in the Grey Cup game and as a Wallabies Warrior.
Well, how could you not have Louis Pasaglia on this list? I mean, as you said, 25 years in the league. But look what he's done this year, 40 of 44 field goals, over 90%. I mean, this man is the granddaddy of all kickers.
It's a great pick, Chris, and I know you had a tough time making your picks this year, and there are some players who deserve honorable mention.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at Brian Chu. Here's a guy undersized at the guard position, finds his niche and excels at the center position for the Montreal Alouettes. Then you got Johnny Scott. Here's a guy traded, has an outstanding campaign for the Toronto Argonauts. Then, of course, who else would you have? Ben Cahoon, the new guy. I mean, this is the go-to guy for Calvillo right now. Great route runner, outstanding campaign.
Mr. Velcro hands indeed. I also noticed that your old buddy, kicker Troy Westwood from the Blue Bombers, is on the team. How'd you pick him?
You know what? 2 reasons. The first is genuine. I mean, here's a guy that took over Bob Cameron's punting duties halfway through the year when Bob had the back problems. But the second, and probably the most important reason, is the first annual Candy Apple Award. And what I mean by that is, you watch this clip, it's a phantom hit. But watch him as he gets up and the smirk on his face. Just a great job of acting.
Great job of acting indeed, and he went to more lengths than anybody else to lobby you, posing as a Sunshine Boy in the Winnipeg Sun, nearly naked, with a Wallaby tattoo on his chest.
I tell you what, we've had flowers, we've had pizza, now they're turning to photography.
So the Warriors are in the books for the year 2000. Are you happy with the club?
You know what, I really am. But the thing that bothers me, Mark, is there's so many great people out there who could still be on that team. So maybe next year we'll go back to the 24-man roster.
All right, that's it for Wallabies Warriors the year 2000. The second half of the 1976 Grey Cup is coming up next. Thanks for watching.
And welcome back to McMahon Stadium here in Calgary. Still to come, Mark Lee in conversation with the incoming CFL Commissioner Mike Lisco, and of course Scott Oak and Karen Lee Gartner, men's World Cup downhill racing from nearby Lake Louise. Let's go back to the 76 Grey Cup. It was 17-10 Saskatchewan at the half. We pick it up second half. Remember, Saskatchewan scored 17 points with the wind in the second quarter. They have the wind in the third quarter. From 76 in Toronto, Don Chevrier and Frank Rigney.
The second half of the Grey Cup game about to get underway here at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, and what a contest it is. As you see the panoramic view from the helicopter overhead of Exhibition Place.
So here's the kickoff.
Bounding down to the area of the 25-yard line. Luke Clare across the 35, stopped at the 36-yard line, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will have the wind advantage in this third quarter, which will swing over in the fourth quarter to the Ottawa Roughriders, who had the second half choice. All the points have been scored with the wind so far in the Grey Cup game. 27 of them, and 17 belong to Saskatchewan. And that's how they stand statistically through the first two quarters of this game. Tom Campana, the designated import, is in place of Molly McGee, who will not be back today, reportedly. Here's the pass to Campana, and he's hauled down right at the line of scrimmage, the 36-yard line, by Rod Woodward, number 26.
Well, I was concerned when we lost Molly McGee because that time of the season you need two big running backs in order to control the ball.
We felt going out for that third quarter that we'd give them the football, let them work at it, and play defense best we can, and then have the advantage in the fourth quarter.
We had to, at halftime, change our strategy, and we came out with a 5-receiver set and one lone running back and Steve Molnar. So it really told Ottawa that, hey, we're not going to run the football, or we're not going to try to run it. We're going to throw the football.
This then is second down and 9. They got a yard on the last play, the 37-yard line. Flags fly. Ottawa could be offside. The pass to nowhere at the 50-yard line. No receiver there for Ron Lancaster. Don Barker of Vancouver, the referee, sorting out the penalty, which appeared to be offside against the Ottawa Roughriders, and is. That'll move it up 5. Gives Saskatchewan second down over again. Now they'll have 4 yards to go. Richardson, Brett Dawson wide left. Mazurek on the right side. Here's Molnar. Molnar at the 47-yard line will have the first down for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Woodward there to make the stop, along with Mark Cosmos, number 50. There's Steve Molnar, the young man who filled in so admirably after the retirement of George Reed and picked up 822 yards rushing this year. And he had a 4.6-yard average. That pass thrown badly in behind Rhett Dawson by Ronnie Lancaster, who at times has not looked sharp in throwing today. Lancaster appeared to be momentarily shaken up way back in the first quarter when he nearly gave up a safety touch.
Don Ronnie has certainly had a high completion percentage, 15 of 21 so far in this ball game for 170 yards. And of course, the go-ahead touchdown was to Bob Richardson, number 77, the big tight end.
Mazurek goes right. On the left side, Richardson and Dawson for second down and 10. Big charge on Lancaster, and it is almost picked off by wonderful Mons. Offside Ottawa was the call. It was Rudy Sims, number 65.
And the Ottawa team showed a lot of courage there. They blitzed safety man Al Brenner once again on the play. That's how Saskatchewan picked up that Bob Richardson touchdown in the first half.
Lancaster players one out for Rhett Dawson against Wayne Tosh. Tosh has him at the 47. It's going to be another Saskatchewan first down as Lancaster works this team downfield methodically.
Well, As we see this out pattern by Rhett Dawson once again, number 25, Tosh, number 17. The defensive corner on Ottawa's right side is just giving Rhett entirely too much room. Tosh, of course, was a fellow beaten by Terry Evanson for that touchdown in the Hamilton Ticats in that final game in Eastern Conference.
This is Molnar, met by Cosmos around the 43-yard line. He'll have 3 to 4 yards. Molnar, rather ineffective in the first half, beginning to move now with the ball as John Payne looks on, the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, leading by 7 at 17 to 10. 10 points for Ottawa consecutively with the win, then 17 in a row for Saskatchewan when they had the following win in the second quarter. We are now 3.5 minutes into the third. This is second down. No good.
Telestrator, Ronnie, telestrator.
That was Leif Patterson with Peter Crepan defending as he dropped the ball right there. It's going to be third down and 6 for Saskatchewan.
Don, let's take a look at that once again. If we can start this play up, we'll stop it right there. You'll see Al Brenner once again coming into your picture, number 13 on that safety blitz. We've talked about it on the previous play. That's exactly how the Ottawa defensive secondary got caught in the first half when Ron Lancaster found Big Bob Richardson for that major score. Brenner doesn't put any pressure on Lancaster, and that, of course, eliminates one defensive back from the Ottawa secondary.
Well, it's easy for us to sit here and say we didn't execute. If you look at it from their side of the ball, they did a heck of a job defensively. And all in all, I thought both defenses did good jobs at different times of the game, and that's what made the game interesting. But again, we still had opportunities to win, and we weren't in any trouble.
This is going to be a 50-yard field goal attempt by Bob McAreedy. About 51 when Ron Lancaster puts it down.
Field goal attempt.
McAreedy has got it. As the cannon goes off in the end zone, Saskatchewan has a 10-point lead. A 51-yarder by Bob McAreedy, and the Western Riders are on top again by 10. Here is Tom Clements, first down, 35. Tony Gabriel, first down, Ottawa, a gain of 16 yards.
Gabriel forced out at the Ottawa 52.
Cleveland Van forced him out at the 51-yard line.
Well, you see just a quick out by Gabriel, and he does it all on his own once he gets the ball. That's McEachern he gets away from, number 20. And you see the blitz here by Bill Manchuk, the linebacker on the far side from Saskatchewan. Both teams now are blitzing their opposing quarterbacks. He does not, however, pressure Tommy Clements. Back to live action.
From the Ottawa 51. Martin Green has 4 yards near midfield. Luke Ware made the tackle. Clements made a motion to Palazetti and rolls left and keeps the ball. Saskatchewan 50. Saskatchewan 40-yard line. And again, it was Cleveland Van who tracked him down.
I'll tell you, one of the matchups I've been looking at all day is Jeff Turcotte against George Wells. That's Wells who is circled right there. Turcotte is number 67, the left offensive tackle. Watch the job Turcotte does. Clements has had a lot of time during the course of this football game. Wells finally gets rid of Turcotte, but Clements manages to avoid him with that fake right there, and Clements takes off on his biggest run so far this afternoon. First down for the Ottawa Roughriders at Saskatchewan's 40.
And a gain of 15 yards. Gabriel, good catch. Good first tackle thrown on him at the 36-yard line by Ken McEachern. In fact, a saving tackle, because had Gabriel not been contained by McEachern, there was wide open space between himself and the goal line. The score is 20-10 for Saskatchewan, a 51-yard field goal by Bob McAreedy. The only scoring play so far in the third quarter. We're about midway through. 8 minutes and 25 seconds to play.
And it's so very important to this Ottawa ball club to keep possession as they're working against this wind coming out of the south here at Exhibition Stadium.
That is Art Green across the 35 to about the 33-yard line.
Ottawa's had a lot of trouble trying to handle Cleveland Van, the middle linebacker, who's circled right there. They tried to do it this time with Tom Schutte stepping behind his offensive center and coming up and hitting Van, number 72. Van fights off the block fairly effectively. Schutte is number 56. Van gets in on the stop. It'll be 3rd and 3 for Ottawa, and it appears that they will bring in Jerry Organ.
There's Neil Payne, who was injured in the second quarter, relieved by the spare official Floyd Cooper at head linesman. Field goal attempt from the 40-yard line by Organ, held by Woodward. He's got it. Once again, they are only a touchdown apart. As Organ's field goal makes it Saskatchewan Roughriders 20, Ottawa Roughriders 13, a little over 7 minutes until the end of the third quarter of the 1976 Grey Cup game. I tell you, the enthusiasm of this crowd, which was electric at kickoff time, is building as this game goes on, as the drama intensifies and the tension is increased. 7:04 is the time on the clock on the board. We suspect they have an extra, perhaps 20 seconds still left on top of that. Saskatchewan goes from the 35 with the first down. Molnar drops the ball. He was at the 35-yard line. He was challenged there by Ken Moore, the linebacker, number 57, and did not hang on to it.
He was very, very well aware of Ken Moore, the great linebacker of the Ottawa Roughriders, who picked up a fumble in that final game against the Hamilton Ticats. Very key turnover for the Riders in that ball game. 2nd and 10 for Saskatchewan.
They found the missing time. The clock started on this play, did not run on the last play. A good look there at Ken Moore, who forced Molnar. Now Lancaster is going to go deep down the middle. He's got Richardson, center field, the Ottawa 52-yard line. First down, Western Riders. Larry Cameron and Mark Cosmos combined to bring him down.
Ottawa 51, first down, Saskatchewan.
As we look at it from the end zone, once again, Lancaster has all kind of time to throw that football. Great blocking in there by the offensive line, led by Ralph Galloway. Look how many people it takes to bring the big tight end from Saskatchewan down. It's his 4th reception for 63 yards on the afternoon, and of course, 1 major score.
Richardson tipped, and they cannot make the interception on the deflection. Lunging forward was Peter Crepin. It was tipped by Ken Moore, the linebacker, number 57. You talk about the Canadians. There's one of them, Richardson. Such a dynamic force in this game. It's going to be very difficult to choose that outstanding Canadian player award, the Canadian Pacific Award at the end of the game, not to mention the outstanding player awards offensively and defensively. But we've got a long way to go to make our minds up with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leading 20-13. Richardson again at the 36, hit by Alan Brenner. They can't seem to find a way, Frank, to contain this big tight end of Saskatchewan, Bob Richardson.
I'll tell you, Ronnie Lancaster's having his problems after he gets rid of the ball. Watch Fanucci, number 68, beats his former Rough Rider teammate from the east. Miller, number 67, the right offensive tackle, and Fanucci really drops Lancaster after he gets rid of this football.
Ottawa's 36-yard line is Saskatchewan's point of scrimmage on first down. This is Steve Molnar. Fanucci got a piece of him. Then he got help from Mark Cosmos. There'll be no gain.
Tell you, Don, we talked about Miller, the problems he's having. Look at him once again. He's 67, the right offensive tackle. I think he should have been called for holding here. He appeared to me to be grabbing Fanucci from the back. If that's not holding, I haven't seen it. And Fanucci grabs Steve Molnar's face mask. We can back it up just a minute. We can see both of those penalties. Stop it right there and move it just a bit forward now. You'll see him grab the face mask. Back to live action.
That's our referee in chief, Frank Rigney. Lancaster. Dawson had to dig for it. He threw the ball out of bounds. Under some pressure back there. Rhett Dawson.
I think the big thing that hurt us in the second half was Molly McGee getting hurt. and he was not in the game, so we had basically, he was also a good pass receiver besides a good runner. And we took him out, and I think Tom Campana had to come in and play tailback, which he never played. He was always a slot back. I think, in the second half, we didn't score a lot of points the second half. I think we scored 3 points, and that hurt us bad.
McAreedy was good from 51, will now try from the 43-yard line. Another Saskatchewan field goal. Wide. Art Green out of the end zone, the 10-yard line. Green out of bounds to the 14.
And I'm sure Ottawa was very satisfied with what's going on so far in the third quarter, Don. They've traded field goals with Saskatchewan, and of course the wind advantage is with the Rough Riders from the west.
Jeff Avery heads wide left. Tom Clements has gone all the way at quarterback for Ottawa. Art Green, 2 yards, maybe 3 at the 17.
Stopped by Wells.
George Wells, the defensive end, and Frank Landy right next to him, a defensive tackle, made the stops.
2nd and 8.
I'm going to show you another example of great line play. Watch Schutte once again, 56, step behind his offensive center and try to block Cleveland Van, number 72, the rookie linebacker of Saskatchewan. Van just moves right up in that line and stops the hole, and he gets help, of course, from Landy making the stop, but a good play by the middle linebacker of Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan with a tremendous passing attack today. Over 200 yards. We're still in the third quarter. Clements for Gabriel, first down at the 26-yard line. Tony Gabriel, the top Canadian of the year, stepping out of bounds with a gain of 9 yards, enough for the first down. We have 3 minutes and 2 seconds left in the third quarter, and it's Saskatchewan 20, Ottawa 13 in Grey Cup 1976.
Tom Clements almost went out of this ball game on that last play before the commercial interruption. There's Jeff Turcotte missed the block on George Wells. Actually, he hit him pretty good initially, as you see him knocking down there, but Wells got up with his great pursuit and really drilled the young quarterback of Ottawa. He got up very slowly after that one.
First down to the 26-yard line. Clements staying in there. Art Green across the 40, the 30 and 35. He's got about 9 yards. Art Green makes the Ottawa offense go. Jesse O'Neill and Ted Provost combined to bring him down. Green today, in his rushing for the Ottawa Rough Riders, has picked up 60 yards in 14 carries. There he is, number 20 for the Eastern Riders. Top rusher in the East, second in the country to Jim Washington of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. John Palizzetti fights for and may have picked up a first down. It is going to be close. Manchuk and Wells reacting defensively for Saskatchewan. He had that far to go. Let's see how close he came to it. Depending on the spotting of this football, they put it down around the 36-yard line. Frank, I don't know. He might not have it.
It's going to be very, very close, Don. What a tough decision for Coach George Brancato and his...
Everybody wants a look. Odom's leaning in. No, they don't make it. They're short by a matter of inches. Brancato, I'm sure, is thinking about last week in a decision of this nature.
You see 69, George Wells, helping to stack up Palizzetti, the ball carrier, number 21. It does not appear that there's any action at the Ottawa bench, so we would have to assume that they're going to go for it on this 3rd and 1 foot situation.
They have a lot less to go than they had against Hamilton last week. Late in the 4th quarter when they gambled and did not make it. A big gamble right here. Clements keeps, he slipped a bit, leaned forward. I think he's got the first down. But he lost his footing, as you saw, starting out on the play. Appeared to lean forward far enough to allow the Ottawa drive to continue. We'll see where they put it down.
I didn't really think footing was going to play much of a part in this ball game, Don, but it certainly has in this ball game. See Clements as he slips right here, reminiscent of Ronnie Lancaster in the first half, slipping in his own end zone, almost getting caught for a safety touch. But it is an Ottawa first down.
At the 37-yard line, Tom Clements second-year pro from Notre Dame. What a poised young quarterback he is, considering his lack of overall experience in professional company. Fakes the Palizzetti, rolling out. Oh, and it was to Kuzik at the 55-yard line. Oh, what a defensive play by Ray Odoms, who timed his contact with the receiver and the ball just perfectly.
Well, we talked about the blitzing of both ball clubs. Watch Manchuk come from Tommy Clements' backside, and he gets to the young quarterback from Ottawa once again. That's twice in this quarter that Clements has gone down very, very hard. Manchuk comes from his back, number 75. Tommy's taking a beating trying to throw that football.
And Kuzik is trying to catch it. This is 2nd and 10 of the Ottawa 37. A minute 13 to play in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leads 20-13. For Foley, a good goal. He dropped the ball. He had it for a split second, then let it get away at the Saskatchewan 50-yard line against 3 defenders.
Tell you, Don, you called me a referee a while ago. Let's take another look at it. And what I thought was, oh, it should have been a holding call. That's Charlie Brandon there, number 61. Watch him as he's working against Landy, 62. Watch him, number 61. If we stop it right there, keep your eye on Brandon, 61.
I'll tell you, if another official goes out of this game, you may be going in.
You see a good secondary shot there as that ball is really delivered super by Clements. An excellent throw to Foley, who dropped the football.
Well, he was trying to make a catch under difficult circumstances there. Campana is back with Marshall at the 35-yard line for this punt from Jerry Organ, which is going to be a run by Organ. And it all opened up for him. He's got a first down, midfield, still going at the 45-yard line. Jerry Organ at the 30, Organ at the Saskatchewan 21-yard line.
I remembered our conversation at halftime with Mark Cosmos about the possibility of faking a punt. So in the huddle, I said punt to the rest of the team, and I said, Mark, be ready.
And I'm thinking, get ready for what? And the next thing I knew, the ball went snap between me and the up back, the other up back.
I caught it, and I looked up. Sure enough, Saskatchewan were not rushing me. So I took a step and then another step. I ran towards Mark. And Mark gave this wimpy little flipper block on his assignment, and I had to cut inside. The guy dove at my feet, almost tackled me at the line of scrimmage. It would have been a disaster, but I veered to my left and ran for 52 yards, and of course it was much better than a kick. Probably gained twice the field position that we could have ever got with my punting. So I got away with it, Mark got away with it, and George Brancata was very happy.
Only 19 seconds remain in this third quarter. Just like.
Oh, it's right to Cleveland Van. He picked it off for Saskatchewan. They'll go for the 25-yard line. He put the ball right up into the area of Cleveland Van, who was the closest man to it.
You see Van right in the middle of your screen, number 72. Somehow he always seems to be around the ball in the Ottawa-Saskatchewan games, because earlier this year when these two teams played, he intercepted Comrades Holloway on Ottawa's 15-yard line and ran it right back into the end zone.
The fact that Cleveland intercepted the pass nullified what they did with that punt run. The defense kept us in the ball game. There's not any doubt about it.
We realized that even though he did intercept the ball and turn it over, it was much better than if Jerry punted the ball and they had the ball at midfield. At least we had the ball down at their end, and time was ticking away for Ronnie and the Wind.
Tom Campana has a yard at the 26, taken down by Mark Cosmos. And that is it. Time is out. The gun sounds, and at the end of the third quarter, the score is Saskatchewan 20, Ottawa 13. Second down, 9. Lancaster has found Pedersen for a Saskatchewan first down. Peter Stennerson cut him down at the 43-yard line.
Ron and I had talked a little bit on the sidelines that he was going to get me more involved again to try to get that inside passing game back. So I assumed I was going to get the ball, and early I caught a pass and took a huge hit from Larry Cameron.
With the style of game we were playing, run the ball, throw short, make first downs, we were not in a position where we needed to throw the ball deep, but where the ball's up in the wind for a long time and gets knocked around, and then interceptions and things occur that you don't want. We were still able to play our game plan going into the fourth quarter.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders now come Pannas in for the injured Molly McGee, and this is Steve Molnar. Molnar at the 49-yard line has about 5, halfway to a first down. Here's Bill Stevenson.
Well, Dan Yoakum is the Shenley Award winner as the outstanding offensive lineman in Canada from the Montreal Alouettes. Dan, you see the game better here than you do up in the stands. This is what you're used to. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, if the game's close, then anything can happen, but Ronnie Lancaster is keeping his poise like you knew he would, and he's picking apart that pass defense pretty well. Both teams are seem to be going to the passing game and not establishing much running, so I think Regina would have to have the advantage at this point.
And Lancaster's the man.
Yeah, all the way.
All right. Thank you very much, Dan Yoakum.
That was Leif Pettersson again doing his thing for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And you see Ken Moore coming from the outside on a blitz here, trying to get to Ron Lancaster, leaving that short flat area wide open. Moore's number 57. He's picked up by Steve Molnar. That's why the area out in the short flat was so wide open.
There's Ken Moore. He's having a big day for the Eastern Riders. And so is the man who caught the ball, Pettersson. He's caught 5 today. This is first down at midfield for Saskatchewan. Campana has about 4 yards of the Ottawa 51-yard line. Saskatchewan grinding it out methodically. Ken Moore again made the tackle. They've come on the turnover from their 25-yard line. And after 3 quarters in total offense, Ottawa has narrowed by rushing mainly that Saskatchewan overall lead. But the big difference is in passing, with Saskatchewan having 218 yards.
Ronnie's now 20 out of 30 for the day, so he's having an excellent afternoon.
As most everybody thought he would. Way over the head of Mazurek at the 35-yard line. Brenner was back there. Even he couldn't get to it. He was in behind the Saskatchewan pass receiver, so it goes down to 3rd and 6 now. This Saskatchewan drive is finally stalled.
Well, Ronnie didn't see Leif Pettersson, number 71, breaking out on a very similar play because Ken Moore, once again, that weak side linebacker, had blitzed on the play. Pettersson was wide open in the flat. One of the other Saskatchewan receivers, Rhett Dawson, 25, he trips over Mons going downfield. But it was Pettersson on the far side of the field who was wide open.
This is Bob McAreedy, the Saskatchewan punter. High snap to him. He skims it along the turf. It goes to the 45-yard line. They'll call no yards against Saskatchewan. Wayne Tosh picked it up. And it was a minor miracle that McAreedy even got the ball away.
Once again, we see slippery footing causing a problem again. The snap is very, very high, as you said, Don. McAreedy went up, knocked it down, and then slipped. Cosmos almost blocked it right there. Just a 7-yard kick.
Then they take the walk-off for the no yards penalty and put the ball down to the Ottawa 54-yard line. That's the second high snap for Gary Brandt. You're right about Cosmos. He was a hair away right there from blocking it and forcing that ball farther downfield. A punter's nightmare for Bob McAreedy. Here come the Ottawa Roughriders, trailing 20-13, just under 12 minutes left. For Tony Gabriel, no good. He had 3 defenders chasing him and could not catch up with the football. Ottawa has sent in young Bill Hananaka, who, of course, ran 79 yards earlier in this game on the punt return. There's George Brancano. He and John Payne share an equal level of anxiousness right now as it's coming down to the final 11 and a half minutes of the Grey Cup. They're a touchdown apart. There's Bill Hadanaka, number 16, wide left. Second down. Clements challenged down to the 45 by George Wells.
I'll tell you, everybody talks about Wells' quickness, but watch what he does to Jeff Turcotte here, number 67. He just picks up the big left tackle of the Ottawa Rough Riders and throws him away. Right there. Wells, of course, has great speed at 6'4", 235 pounds. He's not one of the biggest defensive ends in the country, but he's certainly one of the fastest.
And Frank, I want to tell you, you saved your Nita circles for Grey Cup Day. That's the way the season should end.
I thank you, Don.
Here's Oregon. Good snap. Not a very good kick, though. Didn't get much into it. Gets an Ottawa bounce inside the Saskatchewan 25 to Tom Pankana, and he is back to the 23-yard line. Let's join Don Whitman once again.
Well, George Wells just made a big play. George, all afternoon you've been trying to get to that quarterback, and that's the first time you got through.
Yeah, I've been slipping a little bit, and I've been beating him. It's just getting a little extra. I'm not getting out of him, so. But this last half, I got it coming.
Is that line play pretty tough?
Yeah, Turcotte's tough, and I thought he was.
You felt he was going to be able to hang on?
I hope so. I think so. We're getting up for it.
Okay, George Wells, back up to you, Don.
All right, Don. 23-yard line. First down, Saskatchewan. 10:50 left.
It wasn't an echo, folks. This is the Don Don Show.
Campana cut down by Jim Piaskowski at the 20-yard line. That'll cost him 3 yards as the defensive end came knifing through, number 73. Big second down for Saskatchewan here without the wind. They are in danger of giving this ball back to Ottawa in the vicinity of midfield unless this drive continues.
You have to believe that Ronnie's going to put the ball in the air once again because they've only managed 41 yards rushing the ball all afternoon. Ottawa's defense has been most impressive against the rush.
Second and 13 now. Campana swings out of there. Lancaster throws it to him too low. Lancaster is being challenged by the linebacker Mark Cosmos and Larry Cameron. So it's going to be third down and 13. Saskatchewan's punting team comes onto the field. Oh, the stories this battered old trophy could tell. The Grey Cup. And in the final 10 minutes now, we will soon be able to tell which of these teams will possess it for 1976. Third down, Saskatchewan. McAready stationed near his 5-yard line to kick into a win. The snap into his hands from Brandt, but the kick hangs up around the 50-yard line. And for the Ottawa Rough Riders, Bobby Myrick brought it back to the Saskatchewan 50, so indeed Ottawa does have better than midfield position for an attempted comeback drive.
First down, Ottawa.
I'll tell you, their defense just keeping the Saskatchewan Rough Riders pinned down in their own end or giving Ottawa Rough Rider offensive unit plenty of chances. Saskatchewan leads this ball game 20-13, 9:22 remaining.
Avery left, Hadanaka wide right. Foley in the slot. This is Art Green, picks his way to the 45. He's got about 5 in the grasp of big Jesse O'Neill, Saskatchewan's left defensive end.
2nd and 5.
9 minutes exactly remaining now. John Payne with Ron Lancaster at the Saskatchewan bench. The big task for John Payne's team right now is to stop the Ottawa Rough Riders. They're a touchdown down at 20-13. Clements for Foley, 33-yard line, Ottawa first down. Clements went shopping for a receiver, and at the very last moment he found number 9, Jim Foley.
I'll tell you what, a tremendous job of getting this football away, too. George Wells gets caught to the inside and allows Clements to get to the outside, but he just manages to dump that ball off to Foley.
They gave him an extra 2 yards. Watch where they placed the ball, the 31. He went out in the 33.
Well, let's take a look at it once again, Don. Are you joining me on the officials team here?
I can't let you work alone. It is the 31-yard line. First down, Ottawa. Pitch to Green. And he is into the 27 where Frank Landy finally stopped him. Trying to follow a block from Charlie Brandon. Right guard, number 61. 8 minutes remaining now. 5 yards it was for Green on that carry.
5.5.
Remember, if they're tied, it'll be overtime. 2 10-minute halves, a brand new mini game will begin. Right now, Saskatchewan clinging to a 1-touchdown lead as Ottawa presses for the tying points. Palizzetti on the draw. Saskatchewan have him at the 25-yard line, a 1-yard gain. They are 4 short of the first down. Tim Roth and Jesse O'Neill were there to make the containment. And now the Ottawa field goal team makes its entry. And while we await their arrival, 7:25 remain. Don't go away. Don Chevrier with Frank Rigney as we move down to the final 7 minutes and 23 seconds of regulation time in the Grey Cup. Jerry Organ with Rod Woodward lining up a field goal from the 32-yard line. But remember, Organ does not always come through with the play that they call. This time he does, and he's got 3 points. George Brancato takes the points, but he can get them on 3rd and 4. And now Ottawa trails Saskatchewan by 4 at 20-16. The clock shows 7 minutes and 7 seconds remaining.
Saskatchewan 20, Ottawa 16.
This, Frank, is turning out to be just a tremendous Grey Cup game, and I expect a tremendous finish.
Certainly one of the most exciting offensive ball games we've had in several years. Much more explosive than the last two between the Montreal Alouettes and the Edmonton Eskimos, as we look at both very, very much concerned coaches. John Payne there on your left, and of course Brancato on your right.
Saskatchewan going from the 35. Lancaster for Pedersen, first down, a gain of 12. That is his 6th reception of the day, and Peter Stennerson made the tackle, number 23 for Ottawa.
And once again, Ronnie is so effective catching those linebackers on those blitzing situations. Watch Cameron here, number 52, as he comes trying to get pressure on Lancaster and opens up that area, and Ronnie finds it very quickly.
Mazurek wide left. Richardson and Dawson right. Molnar in the backfield to block for Lancaster. Flares out of there. The pass complete at the 54-yard line. Patterson once again. What a day he has had.
It almost appeared that Wayne Tosh, 17, interfered with Pedersen as he made his 7th reception now. He's picked up 81 yards.
He's only half a yard away from a first down. George Brancato wants the ball back, but so far his defense can't give it to him. Pedersen with his 7 catches is a long way to go to get the Grey Cup record for a single game. Reno Quinn holds that. 1954. He caught 13 that afternoon. Molnar fighting for the first down. It's going to be close. They colored him right along the line of scrimmage, forced him out laterally, and we'll watch for the placement of the ball. Larry Cameron and Ken Moore defending for Ottawa. They had that far to go, and the play started. And they're going to bring the yardsticks out to determine whether it is a 3rd down or a first down.
Once again, footing is playing such an important part in this ballgame. Don, I really didn't expect it to. The artificial turf here at Exhibition Stadium. Tom Campana that time, although he wasn't carrying the football, slipped as he started to lead up to the line of scrimmage. Fortunately for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Molnar did not slip. However, he did not pick up the first down.
As we played well on defense, and as we came up with situations to stymie Ronnie, which was, again, the key that we felt to winning the game. I think every time we did that, our offense just got stronger and stronger.
He's got the better part of a yard to go, Frank. And every indication now points to the Saskatchewan Roughriders giving this ball up to the Ottawa Roughriders, who have sent their 2 receivers down to the 15-yard line. John Payne figures with a 4-point lead. This is no place to gamble. Gary Brandt has had a couple of bad snaps. He can't afford one here. Back to McAreedy. Little high, McAreedy. Oh, a little rush, got it off away from Brenner. Here's Green, Ottawa 15. Art Green to the 26-yard line.
11 yards.
He brought it back 11. Landy Graham brought him down for Saskatchewan. The time all important now. 4:59 as McAready boots the ball 39 yards. And he's averaging 32.5 today. Of course, the wind is a factor. The number of times a punter has to kick into it as opposed to the time he has with the wind following him. The score is Saskatchewan 20, Ottawa 16. 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. All kinds of time for Clements. Finds Avery. Avery has a first down at the 39-yard line. Bill Manchuk forced him out of bounds.
Well, I'll tell you, Cleveland Van came very close to getting a roughing penalty as well because he hit Avery after he was out of bounds.
Well, the emotions have got to run high now, and these players run the risk of such penalties being incurred. Clock shows 4:25. Ottawa, first down. For Foley or for Avery, either one, it was out of bounds. Roth was putting the heat on the quarterback, Tommy Clements.
I'll tell you why he was doing that, Don, because once again, you mentioned that Clements is getting so much time to throw. Watch the 2 linebackers here, Cleveland Van and Roger Goree, come up the middle and try to put pressure on Clements. That Ottawa Rough Rider offensive line has just done a tremendous job, but on that occasion, Roth got through because the linebackers were shooting and hurried the Ottawa quarterback.
He did the wise thing, getting it out of bounds. It's now 2nd and 10. He has another chance near his own 40-yard line. Exactly 4 minutes left. For Green. Good block for him. Green has an Ottawa first down at midfield. Cleveland Van hit him, but he picked up 15 yards.
We were making some plays. We were moving the ball. And with 4 minutes left, only down 4 points, we felt pretty good about our chances, and our defense had been playing well.
In the fourth quarter, there was a lot of, we couldn't put the pressure on Tommy Clements that we should have had to make him get rid of that ball early.
Big block by Jim Cood, number 60, the right offensive tackle, and it appeared that Bill Manchuk was hurt just a bit there.
We seemed to be much more balanced in the latter part of the fourth quarter. And the nature of that, I think, opened their defense a bit. And we were able to find some spots underneath their coverage.
Tom Clements had elevated his game in the fourth quarter. He'd been kind of quiet for a couple of quarters, and all of a sudden he started to pick it up. Tony Gabriel made some catches, and sitting on the sidelines, you had that very nervous feeling that all is not right.
Ottawa, center field with 3:38 left. Draw play to Green. Saskatchewan reacting well. They limit that gain to a little less than 5. Tim Roth, the left defensive tackle, made the stop. George Brancato, John Payne, neither one knows which will coach the Grey Cup champions 1976. The clock ticking down to 3 minutes and 15 seconds.
I'll tell you, based on the course of the year that the Saskatchewan Roughriders have had, I'm sure that they're pleased they have that defensive unit out on the field right now and trying to win this ball game with only 3 minutes left. They've been the best defense in the country against the pass.
He fakes the draw, fires it to Tony Gabriel, wide open. Gabriel, Saskatchewan 30, 15, the 10-yard line. A big play by Tony Gabriel and Tom Clements for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
I was running even after the catch. I think it was Jeff Avery made a hell of a block for me, and I went downfield for another 30 yards before Cleveland Van or somebody like that just knocked me down to the ground and bounced my head off the turf.
And he's so wide open, Tommy Clements sees him easily. He moves the ball all the way down to the 10-yard line. We'll be right back with Ottawa's first down after this. And Jeff Avery, number 18, who gets a big block. You see how wide open Gabriel is, and watch the block by Avery there. That was Jim Marshall, 26, that he picked up, and here comes Van in to make the stop. It is possible for Ottawa to make a first down without scoring a touchdown. They're just outside of the 10. 2:34 remaining.
First down. They can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. Art Green hits it to the 8-yard line. Provost and Goree made the tackle. 2:22 remaining.
The fellow that just made the big catch, Shenley Award winner as a Canadian of the Year, gets a block on Luke Clare, number 31, to allow Green to go to the outside. However, a great play by Ted Provost, the safety, limiting the gain to 2 yards. 2nd and 8 for Ottawa, 2:18.
Time and score of the utmost importance. 20-16 Saskatchewan. 2nd down Ottawa. Saskatchewan 8-yard line. Clements to the 1-yard line. He fumbles the football. The ball has been ruled down, I believe. As they all went scrambling for a free football, George Brancato's heart skipped just a little bit. The key question now is, do they have the first down? I do not think so.
Don, I don't think they have the first down, but unquestionably they'll go for it. 1:56 remaining. Field goal does them absolutely no good as Saskatchewan's leading 20-16. Take a look at it again as Clements appeared to not really have an option here. He wanted to run with that football, and he got outside of Goree, then inside Provost before Cleveland Van, who came back into the ball game, hit him right there.
The ball was ruled dead. You saw it fly free when he hit the ground, but the official there had whistled the play down. That's one I'm sure Western fans will be mumbling about.
I don't know, Don.
They're measuring. There's no way they have the first down.
Well, we may see that again. If not now, after this ball game is over. But
now we had the choice. Could we make the 1 yard for that touchdown, or I think we needed a half a yard for a first down in between. And could we make it? And we had to go for it because we're 4 points down, and there's no field goal that's going to make 4 points.
They need about half a yard for a first down and a yard for a touchdown. Remember, Saskatchewan from the 3 in the first quarter failed to get in. Ottawa now must go in with this one, or at least get the first down. Clements. It's going to be very, very close. He was stopped short of the goal line. The ball got batted away, but the official jumped right in there to position it. Saskatchewan indicates they have held them. They do not have the first down. Saskatchewan players jumping around it in.
Team is coming out on the field.
They did not make it.
I think they were calling a fumble.
It may have been. The yardsticks are coming out.
Well, obviously they didn't call it a fumble, Don, if they're going to be measuring it with the yardsticks.
The yardsticks now will watch the face of George Brancato there and John Payne. Players huddling around the measurement. No! Saskatchewan takes over. 1:32 remaining, and John Payne indeed is a happy man. Ottawa stop inches away from a possible Grey Cup victory.
Unbelievable, Don. At the same end of the field, you see Tom Clements once again. That's Ted Provost, number 10 at the top of your screen. It's really impossible to say who made the stop completely. Certainly Jesse O'Neill, number 61, was a major contributor.
He closed the opening that Tom Clements thought he had.
The offense was disappointed, but as we were going off the field, the defense had one more shot to get it back for us.
The defense, and myself included, we were extremely happy. Extremely proud because now we've denied them the score. And again, the ball is back in Ronnie's hands. Let Ronnie work his magic with the receivers.
Lancaster works for the 1 yard line. Campana gets up to the 6. 1:28 left now.
I don't remember ever, Don, in the history of a Grey Cup or any playoff action in the CFL where I saw 2 third down gambles with just about a foot to go and both of them failing.
For Brancato, it couldn't have come at a worse time. He couldn't try the field goal. He's 4 points behind. He had to go all the way for at least the first down.
I can remember this like it was yesterday, standing in the huddle. Second and long, we'd had success throwing a short out pattern to Leif Pedersen or Tom Campana, but mostly to Leif. We were having a good day throwing him the football. 2nd and 7, I'm thinking, you know what, if we run the football and don't get this thing, we're going to have to kick it, and they're going to have enough time to beat us. If I throw this pass and hit it, and he catches it or everything goes right, we make the first down. Now, we take more time off the clock and maybe end it. I mean, they may not get the ball back. And yet, from where we were on the field, the law of averages says, percentages say, run the football, kick it, play defense.
So now Saskatchewan is 2nd down and 5 from the 6. Campana. No, he stopped around the 7. Saskatchewan is going to have to punt. Ottawa will get another chance.
I mentioned to somebody in the sideline, I said, if they don't make the first down, I'm sure John Payne's going to give up 2 points and kick off from the 35-yard line and, you know, and try to hold us from there.
We did consider at that point in the game taking a safety, but then if we'd have taken a safety and they had moved the ball down, kicked the field goal, that's all they needed to win the game.
Well, there's the record. 41 Grey Cups for the East and 14 for the West. Saskatchewan trying to make it 15. They've got 1 minute and 8 seconds left to hang on. Remember, this punt will go into the wind from McAreedy.
And remember that Gary Brandt, number 54, the offensive center of Saskatchewan, has had trouble getting that ball back to punter Bob McAreedy.
Myruck is in the shallow zone of the 30. Hadanaka and Green of the 40. The kick from the end zone. A good one by McAreedy. Out to Hadanaka. 35. That's it. Cleveland Band has him there at the 35 with 44 seconds remaining.
Well, this ball game is far from over, Don. They've got a lot of time.
I can't remember as exciting a Grey Cup game for many, many years, Frank. Going right down to the final seconds, the final offensive series by the Ottawa Rough Riders. Saskatchewan's defense has to hold. Ottawa's got to put in all the stops. They trail 20 to 16.
And you'd have to believe they'd be looking for Tony Gabriel in a situation like this, Don.
Claude Green, they have him wrapped up. Number 37, Roger Goree, wrapped his arms around him. 40 seconds left now. And the clock will start when the team is sent back to the huddle. They're not going to huddle. All right, time is in. Counting down for 40 seconds on second down.
It's Gabriel coming across.
He's open. He's got it. First down at the 24-yard line with 31 seconds remaining. Richards have made a super hit on Tony Gabriel.
Watch Gabriel coming from that tight end position on the right side. Exactly the same kind of play you saw a while ago when Cleveland was banned. Got hurt on the play. Gabriel had moved it all the way down to the 10-yard line. Clements is obviously just looking for his big tight end on that crossing pattern. That's Richardson making the stop.
Saskatchewan has asked for a measurement. Here it is again.
You see Gabriel going across the formation, obviously the primary receiver.
And it is a first down.
31 seconds.
First down.
That smile will broaden if Gabriel and the Rough Riders of Ottawa can reach the end zone in the final 31 seconds.
We knew we had to score a touchdown, and the only other thing that I remember is at that point someone from our team was running onto the field to try to bring a play in, but time was winding down, and I waved him off and just called a play that I felt comfortable with.
They're 24 yards and 31 seconds away from a Grey Cup comeback victory. Gabriel is open in the end zone. Touchdown! And the Ottawa fans and players are going crazy.
Tony Gabriel proves why he was 1976 Canadian Player of the Year. The Shenley Award winner takes in his 7th reception for 124 yards and no bigger catch in his life. Look at the time that Clements has to throw the football. He beat Ted Provost, the safety of Saskatchewan, number 10. Wide open in the end zone. And a great throw by little Tommy Clements.
I look back and I see pretty vividly that I was able to get outside the defensive end who's lined up against me to get into the secondary. And I remember trying to put a post move on Ted Provost, which he bit for. When I went back to the flag area, that ball was in the air hanging for at least several seconds, and I was drifting into the path of that and the flight of that ball with eyes 6 feet wide open, just, praying, like, come on in here and don't drop the ball.
We were playing a 4-deep zone, but the guys were kind of locking up on individuals. Ray kind of took the outside guy, and Gabriel gave me that good head fake to the post, and I kind of went for it and just froze me, and he went back to the outside, technically, if I playing it right, I shouldn't even went for the fake. I should have been just playing out there.
Blancato does not display joy on his face, but inside, he's got to be a happy man.
And the Saskatchewan Roughriders would have been far happier, Don, had Ottawa scored on the previous attempt. They hadn't held him with 3rd and 1 because they would have had time to come back. But now they have only 20 seconds.
They're a field goal apart, 23-20, and that's a very valid point you just made. Because now, with 20 seconds left, Saskatchewan faces an almost impossible situation.
Here's the replay. You see Gabriel fake to the inside and then go outside, completely throwing Ted Provost off the mark. He's 5 yards behind the Saskatchewan safety.
You have to wonder how they can let a man like that loose on a late drive downfield. Tony Gabriel caught the pass to set it up and then caught the touchdown pass itself. Had good clearance on both plays.
Donnie, before they ever made the first completion of the two, I had said you have to look for Gabriel in a situation like this. He's been their clutch receiver all year. Clements, by the way, passed for only 25 yards in the first half of this ball game, but he's come back and had a tremendous final 30 minutes, 151 yards in the second half, 176 altogether. What an afternoon for the young Notre Dame quarterback, ex-Notre Dame quarterback.
Playing in his first Grey Cup game, first national championship, he engineered the drive that culminated with that touchdown to Tony Gabriel. There's the time remaining. Oregon gets the go-ahead for the kickoff. Skips through the hands of the 5-yard line of O'Hara. Back to the 15, that's it. And they've got 13 seconds left. 10 more stopped O'Hara short of the 15-yard line. They'll put it down to the 15, and the Western Riders will have 1, maybe 2 plays.
Anytime Ronnie Lancaster's got the ball, there's hope. We have had won games that year, 2 of them, in fact, against Calgary in the last minutes. In fact, one of the games, there was no time left on the clock.
We don't have to worry about the run anymore. We can move everybody back. Linebackers were playing 15, 20 yards deep. Deep backs were playing even further. We would let them throw anything underneath. At this point, it didn't matter. Just don't let anyone get behind you.
23 Ottawa, 20 Saskatchewan. Ottawa led 10-0. Saskatchewan came back to go ahead 17-10. They battled for the second half. Now it's down to this. A long one by Lancaster. It is almost picked off. Time has run out on the clock. Long's knocked it down. There's the gun. It's all over, and the Ottawa Rough Riders have upset Saskatchewan and won the 1976 Grey Cup. One of the most dramatic, exciting Grey Cup wind-ups in the long history of the Canadian Professional Football Championship.
When you play a team sport, especially like football, it takes so many guys working together to accomplish your goal. And the goal is to win a championship. And when you do accomplish that, it's a great feeling. Everyone was happy. Everyone was jumping around, excited, because we were champions.
That is a super feeling, because that's what you work for the whole year, is to win that thing. And the way it turned out, all in a flash, in the last 2 minutes, everything happened, and it was one of the greatest feelings I've ever had in football.
Two great throws from Tommy Clements to Tony Gabriel caps off a great Ottawa comeback. Their victory 23-20 over Saskatchewan.
You know, it's like you feel it again and again. No one can take it away from you. We won the game. I have the 76 Grey Cup ring, and I wear it proudly, and saying that, you know, it's something that you always look for, to be on a Grey Cup winner. And I was very fortunate that I didn't drop the ball.
You know, I took it pretty hard. You know, that was the only time we got to the Grey Cup when I was there, and to come down to the last play and that something happened like that happens to me, I took it pretty bad.
Ted Provost shouldn't feel haunted at this time. He played the defense back where he was supposed to play. Two things happened. We didn't get two guys converging on the football at the same time. And number two, we didn't jam Gabriel coming off. And if you want to get technical, you can go to number three. And we didn't get any pressure on Tom Clements.
There'll be all sorts of talk about other great games. The one that comes to mind was the 1958 Winnipeg-Hamilton game, an exciting offensive game back and forth. This one was very much similar. Ottawa driving downfield. They had almost given up their last hope when they couldn't make half a yard outside the one. Then getting the Gabriel-Clements combination going for the winning points in a 23-20 victory.
It stayed with me a long, long time, and although personally, as a young player, I had a great game, and that never goes away, there's a very hollow feeling from that November day in 1976 for me.
Premier ministre du Canada, M. Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
When we were given that cup and the fans were reacting to our victory, for me it was the greatest excitement of my life.
Controversial gene research has led scientists to unlock the secrets of DNA. What they discovered is something many of us have suspected all along. This is the mother of all trucks. Dodge Ram. Now with 5-star protection. It's peace of mind that comes with all 2001 Dodge Rams.
Weeknights. News as it happens, from where it happens, and why it's happening. From the lead story to the back rooms.
To backstreets, backyards, and kickbacks.
I'm Ian Hannamansing.
And I'm Blake Roberts.
Together we bring you a one-of-a-kind hour of national and local news.
As it unfolds.
As it evolves.
CBC News, Canada Now.
It's breaking news.
And all the rules.
Weeknights at 6 on CBC television. They called it the scandal of the century.
What did they do with the baby's blood?
Children in Saskatoon accusing adults of sadistic crimes.
Barbecued babies, orgies, drinking blood.
Who was to be believed?
You knew we didn't do it.
When children make these fantastic allegations, at least some of the kids may be saying help.
A haunting story of lives ruined by lies. The Fifth Estate, Wednesday night at 8 on CBC television. Get set for CBC Sports Saturday. The action begins at noon with NHL Cool Shots, followed by World Cup short track speed skating. At 1:30, it's Sports Journal. Then it's Championship 10-pin bowling, followed at 3 by Royal Bank Magic on Ice, the figure skating challenge. And at 4:30, it's Alpine Ski World Cup from Lake Louise with Women's Super G. It all starts next week at 12 Eastern on CBC Sports Saturday.
Don Chevrier, Frank Regney with a call of the Classic from a Saturday afternoon in 1976 in Toronto. Saskatchewan led at halftime. The Ottawa Rough Riders came back. Tony Gabriel with a winning touchdown to win the 76 Grey Cup. Last time the two Rough Rider teams would face each other. Most valuable player in that game, the former star at the University of Notre Dame, Tom Clements, in spite of 3 interceptions. The outstanding Canadian with a winning touchdown, 7 catches, 124 yards. Ottawa's Tony Gabriel, and the outstanding defensive player in that game came from the Western Riders, Saskatchewan's Cleveland Van, 14 tackles and 1 interception. We hope you enjoyed a Grey Cup Classic on this Saturday afternoon. Lots more to come, though, on CBC Sports Saturday. Up next, it's Game Faces. Mark Lee goes one-on-one with the incoming CFL Commissioner Mike Lisco. 30 minutes from now, we'll take you to nearby beautiful Lake Louise. Scott Oak and Karen Lee Gartner with the call, Men's World Cup Downhill Racing. Now, it's a big weekend for CBC Sports here in Alberta. Let's show you the menu for tomorrow. Speaking of World Cup skiing, at 2:30 Eastern, 12:30 here in the Mountain Time Zone. We'll go back to Scott Oak and Karen Lee Gartner for more men's skiing. The men's Super G from Lake Louise. Now, at 3:30 Eastern, 1:30 here in Calgary, we begin our live Grey Cup coverage, a 2-hour pregame show. The 88th Grey Cup game kickoff is actually just after 4 Mountain, 6 Eastern. It's all live tomorrow afternoon, the BC Lions and the Montreal Alouettes. Sports Saturday continues with Game Faces and World Cup skiing. That's it for us for now from McMahon Stadium. I'm Brian Williams. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 3:30 Eastern.
Good afternoon, I'm Mark Lee, and welcome to Game Faces, a new program which will be seen every few weeks on CBC Sports Saturday. It's a chance to go one-on-one with prominent sports figures to talk about the issues, the personalities, and ideas of the day. Of course, this is Grey Cup weekend here in Calgary, the first of the new millennium, and the first for the new CFL Commissioner, Michael Lisco. This should be an outstanding day of football for the Lions and the Alouettes before a huge crowd at McMahon Stadium and a national TV audience across the country. But underneath the party atmosphere here in Calgary, there are some serious issues facing the CFL. In a moment, we'll hear from the new commissioner. But first, a status report on the league he's about to take over.
Fasten your seatbelts! This could be the start of something big. It's heavenly.
Call it loud, call it over the top, and if you're the Canadian Football League, call it scary. Arena football is wildly successful south of the border, and now it's coming to Canada. The Toronto Phantoms play their first game in April 2001, and the Arena League is just the first headache.
The XFL is proud to present.
The XFL, bankrolled by the World Wrestling Federation, hits the field in February 2001. Already, the new league is trying to lure CFL players to its 8 U.S.-based teams. Just what the CFL needs. Tough new competition when it's already struggling at the gate and in the marketplace.
3rd and 9 with Van Berkelio.
It hasn't always been this way. From the late 1960s to the mid-1980s, the CFL more than held its own. Under the leadership of Commissioner Jake Goddard, the league enjoyed record attendance and fat TV contracts. Then, things began to go sour.
Foster fumbles. It's a free ball. The Argos scoop it up.
TV revenues dropped. In 1987, the Montreal Alouettes folded. In 1990, the Ottawa Roughriders were barely rescued from collapse by Detroit developer Bernie Gleiberman, who freely admitted he knew little about Canadian football. The Toronto Argonauts, the league's showcase franchise, turned to hockey stars and movie stars to attract fans. The commissioner's office became a revolving door. Over an 8-year period, Jake Goddard was replaced by lawyer Doug Mitchell, who was replaced by former player Bill Baker, who was replaced by accountant Donald Crump. Then in 1992, the top job went to another former player, Larry Smith. Smith believed if the CFL was to survive, it had to change.
Across the country, I've sensed this tremendous support for our league, and the fact that people realize that we're on a different direction now in that we will market ourselves in a more professional manner.
Smith's grand plan was to expand into the United States. Maybe the Americans would take a liking to the Canadian game.
From far and wide, oh Canada.
Turns out they couldn't even figure out the anthem. The U.S. gamble failed, and Larry Smith quit in 1996. There was some good news that year. When the Baltimore Stallions moved to Montreal and became the new Alouettes. But that was offset when the Ottawa Roughriders folded. For the past 4 years, the CFL has operated without a full-time commissioner. Businessman John Tory has acted as league chairman on a voluntary basis, while Jeff Giles has run the financial and marketing operations. The league continues to lose money and fans. Its patchwork of private and public ownership has made it difficult to forge a consensus on the league's future. For instance, when the XFL threat first emerged, Giles suggested the CFL explore a partnership with the new league to head off a potential tug-of-war over players. The owners said no, and it's believed their refusal played a role in Giles and John Tory's decision to quit.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the new commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Mr. Michael Lisco.
Now, the top job belongs to 39-year-old marketing executive Mike Lisco. Lisco was forced to officially announce his appointment earlier than planned because some of the owners had tipped off the media. Not an auspicious way for a new commissioner to take up the reins.
I feel like I'm kind of riding the CFL learning curve in public.
Joining us now, the man who's had to come up to speed rather quickly in the CFL, the new commissioner, Michael Lisco. Michael, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Let me start by asking you what the past 4 weeks have been like. You were thrust into the limelight before you were ready.
It's been a bit of a whirlwind, quite frankly. I've had to shut down the old job and sell a home there and try and get a place to live in Toronto and try and get up to speed as much as I can in the past couple of weeks. So it's been a bit of fun.
So you've been doing 2 jobs at the same time, basically. Your former job with the GEM Group in Chicago and acting as the commissioner, is that right?
Technically, I am the commissioner. John Tory and Jeff Giles have been tremendously gracious, and as have a lot of the staff people helping me ease my way into this transition. I've spent a pretty good amount of time with the Board of Governors on an individual basis, and we've dealt with a variety of issues, but it's been a pretty smooth transition. I'm looking forward to taking office December 1st.
Well, what's been your biggest challenge then so far?
I think part of it is just letting people do their jobs. This is a very busy time for the staff, so at the same time that I'm asking a lot of questions and demanding some of their time, they've got a pretty important game to work on. So I've tried to stay out of the way as best I can, and they've been terrific. I couldn't be more happy.
Canadians want to get to know you. We know that you grew up in Southern Ontario. Were you an Argo fan? We know you played football, university football in Waterloo. What are your memories? What are your instincts about the CFL?
I grew up watching the NFL and the CFL and college football on TV and the Canadian college football. I grew up obviously near London, Ontario. I went to a lot of Western Mustang games. I did go to Argonaut games, Hamilton Tiger Cat games. And I grew up watching Terry Evanchen and a lot of the great receivers. I was a receiver in college. Not much of one, as my coach would tell you, but I really enjoyed growing up in that part of the country, and I look forward to working with Hamilton and Toronto and some of the key markets that really need some help.
Now here you were in Chicago, your career growing in the marketing industry with a very successful company. How did you get this job as commissioner? How did the league approach you?
As is the case on a somewhat occasional basis, you get a call from recruiters, and most of the time it's thank you and no thank you. And but this call came, and it's obviously a much different phone call than it would be from an agency situation or from another client. Mm-hmm. But I had conversations with the people on the executive search firm staff, as well as the committee, the Board of Governors formed a committee headed by Bob Ellard from Saskatchewan, and had frequent conversations over the course of about 3 weeks, and then we had a meeting in Toronto, and next thing you know, I'm the commissioner. And it leaked out on a Friday, and when I had, literally at 2 o'clock that morning, had done the deal. So it wasn't even 24 hours by the time it had leaked out, so it's been a lot of fun since then.
Why did you decide to take this job, knowing the history that there had been men who came before you and had trouble, and they've been a revolving door over the last decade?
I enjoy a challenge. I also understand that probably at no point in the past decade has the league been in better shape for someone like me who's got a bit of a track record of generating revenue and taking some things and turning them around. I think we've got a situation here where we can build on the success that John and Jeff and the staff at the CFL office have had, and I look forward to doing that.
I've heard you're an overachiever, that you've achieved things in football, for example, with hard work, tremendous work ethic, and in your education and now your career. What do you bring to this job that you think will make you successful?
Well, I'm glad that people consider me a hard worker. That's something I got from my parents. Obviously, it's something I value. I always believe it's an important thing to be prepared. We've been successful at the Gem Group and at different companies by being prepared and kind of being a little ahead of the curve as best you can against your competition. Mm-hmm. In this particular case, our challenges are significant, and we have to tackle them with enthusiasm, and we have to have some fun doing it. And I think that's part of what I bring to the table is that I can try and make work fun for everybody in the office, and hopefully these governors will have a little fun at the same time.
Tell me about your ideas. Expansion, for example. Do you see that this league will expand within Canada and even go back to the United States?
Quite frankly, the United States, in terms of expansion, is not on my radar screen. I know there's been talk about it. It's not anything that I would consider to be on the front burner. Clearly, expansion into some key markets in Eastern Ontario potentially would be something that I'd like to see happen in the next 3 years.
Really? And where?
I'm not, at this point, I'm not willing to say where I think we'll land, if in fact we will at all. But Ottawa is a situation that came pretty close this past year. I'm going to explore any and all opportunities for expansion, and we'll leave it at that.
All right, I want to hear more about your ideas for this league. We're going to take a break. Game Faces will continue when we come back on CBC Sports Saturday.
Introducing our classic Subway steak and cheese sandwich with new Southwest sauce. It's one of 4 unique sauces at Subway. Come and get them. Subway. Eat fresh.
The chance to experience the trip of a lifetime will depend on the luck of one individual. Test your luck in the Vertical Limit Sweepstakes, and you and a friend could be off to Denver, Colorado to watch the Hockey All-Star Game. You'll also receive a Sony Digital 8 camcorder and Arc'teryx Wear for 2. Several Vertical Limit prize packs are also up for grabs. To enter, visit the Sony store and complete a ballot, or simply log on to www.canadiannetstakes.com. Ballots are also available in select Friday newspapers. Vertical Limit in theaters December 8th.
Remington has a shaver for every face. The Intercept Washable features Intercept cutters to trim long hairs. The first foil shaves close, the second even closer. And it's so easy to clean. And there's the new Microflex with floating heads that contour to your face. The advanced Fast Track system has 2 shaving tracks for a clean, quick shave. Your face deserves a comfortable Remington shave. Remington, guaranteed to perform to your highest standards or your money back.
Introducing our classic Subway steak and cheese sandwich with new Southwest sauce. It's one of 4 unique sauces at Subway. Come and get them. Subway. Eat fresh.
I'm Richard Sieber of the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Ontario. It's important to eat nutritious foods in smoke-free environments. This is key to preventing chronic diseases like heart disease. The good news is that there are now Eat Smart restaurants in Windsor and Essex County. At an Eat Smart restaurant, you can be sure they have more non-smoking seating, healthy food choices, an excellent health inspection track record, and staff who are certified in safe food handling. Look for the Eat Smart logo. For information on Eat Smart restaurants, call the health unit or visit the website. Eat smarter and feel better.
Windsor, Essex County friends, please lend us your ears and celebrate the CBC's been here for 50 years.
In high school, I got a ride to school every morning with my dad, 8 o'clock, and it was Paul Daisy. And now I'm at the university, and every now and again I'll get a ride with my dad in the morning, and I'm wanting to stay in the car. Just I wish the ride lasted a bit longer, because I was really interested in who he was talking to or what was being said, or the radio does keep me company when I'm working. With the CBC, I feel really included.
For Grey Cup Sunday starting at 3:30 Eastern. Then it's the battle for the 88th Grey Cup at 5:30 Eastern when the BC Lions take on the Montreal Alouettes. The 88th Grey Cup tomorrow on CBC.
Welcome back to Game Faces. I'm Mark Lee with new CFL Commissioner Michael Lisko. Michael, tell me about your plan for this league. You said, give me 3 years and we'll see some change. Why 3 years?
I think 3 years is the right length of time to see whether or not I'm the right person for the job, quite frankly. Anybody who would accept this kind of challenge with less than a 3-year mandate probably doesn't have a full grasp on what I think needs to happen. A lot of things A lot of things are happening right now in terms of convergence, in terms of sponsorship, in terms of television. I hope to take advantage of that, and 36 months is not a long time.
What do you see yourself doing first, though, as a marketing man? Is that the biggest issue with this league right now? The product, nobody will argue that it's fantastic football. But what about the image of the league?
It's, in some respects, it's a brand repositioning issue, and I hate to get into marketing speak, but essentially, we've had some problems in some of the major markets in this country in terms of how people view the CFL. My first order of business is to try and get a real sense of it empirically by doing some market research and understand our consumers in terms of what they really feel our brand represents, that our product represents to them. Clearly, the product in the field is not the issue. In some respects, it's how the CFL fits into the mindset of the consumers in each of the specific markets. And obviously, you can see a change that occurred in Montreal. That one small move, which I don't consider to be a particularly small move, but moving stadiums and creating perceived value from what was a few thousand empty seats in Olympic Stadium to a full house at McGill.
But how do you convince football fans in Toronto that the Argonauts are worth watching when you hear so much talk about the NFL and, of course, talk that the Arena League is coming to Toronto in the spring?
I think there's a place for Canadian football in Toronto. I really do. And I think that in a guy like Sherwood Schwartz, he's really committed to this franchise in the city of Toronto. I'm looking forward to working with Sherwood. Looking forward to working with Jeff Giles, who's now the new president of the Toronto Argonauts. Toronto's a tough market, and I would say Toronto, BC, and Hamilton are probably the 2 or 3 of the toughest markets in the country. But by no stretch of the imagination are we giving in on that one. I mean, the Arena League can come and they can have a warm reception at Air Canada Centre. The NFL is here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Last time I checked, they're not coming to Toronto, so it's not a direct competitive issue. But we hope to be able to revitalize interest in Toronto.
Is it fair to say, based on what happened in Montreal, the league is now a 25,000 seat stadium league, not a 50 or 60,000 seat stadium league? Should the Argos need to move out of the Sky Dome to a smaller setting to do what they did in Montreal?
Not necessarily, but yes, it's a good point you make. I mean, if I had a magic wand, Mark, I'd build a 35,000 seat stadium on the lake shore, outdoors with grass. And I think we'd have trouble, you and I, getting a ticket for the game. Unfortunately, that's not reality. There are plans, there are discussions taking place now for different stadium options for the Argonauts, and I know that Sherwood's speaking with them.
What about marketing the team, though? You were telling me on the sidelines of the Montreal game that one of the first things you want to do is change the logo.
We haven't made any definitive decisions with regard to the league logo. But again, it's a lot about, the discussion really revolves around rejuvenating the brand and revitalizing the brand and making it relevant to the consumers, and particularly younger consumers. And obviously the logo has a strong and rich tradition, and we want to try and keep that. But at the same time, we have to continue to make sure we're relevant to our younger consumers.
So you're going after kids then?
Absolutely, we are.
What about talking about getting into this crowded marketplace in Toronto and getting heard with the advent of arena football, the NBA now going strong, the Leafs, of course, have a stranglehold through the winter. How do you get noticed?
A lot of it's just good, old, honest, hard work. And I think that if you look at the records in the past season, like Mike Clemens, his coaching record, if I'm not mistaken, is probably one of the better coaching records in the last half of the season. He did a great job there. Winning is a good first step. Trying to understand your market beyond just Greater Toronto and understand that Kitchener-Waterloo or Brantford or Hamilton or Oshawa even. The Greater Toronto market is one that can be capitalized on more than just the core of the city. We've got to take advantage of that, and maybe some cross-promotional opportunities with Toronto and Hamilton, potentially.
Now, there's no question that football is celebrated here in the West, here in Calgary for sure. They had huge ticket sales, over 400,000 during the regular season. But it seems what's good for the smaller markets doesn't necessarily fit in the big market like Toronto. So how do you deal with cities that don't match up?
Well, you could ask the same question about the Green Bay Packers, quite frankly. Green Bay, Wisconsin's a small place, but there's no small demand for tickets, obviously. In our league, obviously, you go to Regina, there's a tremendous enthusiasm there. Here in Calgary, probably, if I could have 8 Calgarys, we would be having a much different discussion than we have now. Every league faces the same issue. Sometimes it's Sometimes it's a matter of being heard. Sometimes it's a matter of there's just a lot more options for the entertainment dollar. We have to make sure we capitalize on our strengths, which is the fact that we have a tremendous brand of football, and that we do have a brand of football that allows our players in Canada to be profiled as well.
But how do you satisfy owners, for example, like Robert Wetenall in Montreal, David Braley in Vancouver, who have different needs than the community-owned teams in the West? Blackouts, for example. They lift blackouts in the big cities, but they won't do it in the West.
You have different owners who have specific challenges in each of their own markets, and they have different ways of dealing with their own markets. My job is to take advantage of their learning in their own market and try and strengthen the league overall, to give them all the tools they need to succeed in their own markets.
Michael, we're going to take a break. Stay with us. Our conversation with the new CFL Commissioner, Michael Lisko, will continue after this. Welcome back to Game Faces and our interview with the new CFL Commissioner, Michael Lisko. Michael, tell me about the reaction you got from the media when your appointment was leaked and you had to call a hastily arranged news conference to make the announcement. A lot of writers were hard on you.
Actually, I was actually fairly gratified that overwhelmingly the response was positive. There were a few people that were not terribly happy the fact that I didn't have a whole big, huge blueprint that I laid out for them. And quite frankly, even if I had the blueprint in my hands, I probably would not have laid it out for them anyway.
Why not?
Because it would have been inappropriate for me to do that. I was on the outside looking in, Mark. And there's a lot of people who can talk about what they think they would do if they were commissioner of this league from the outside. I had to get in there and speak. I had not even had the opportunity to speak with Jeff Giles, to any of the staff, to really understand where we were on some of the competitive issues with the XFL or the Arena League, where we really were on television and sponsorship and that sort of thing. So it would have been completely inappropriate for me to discuss that.
So reports that said you didn't have any ideas, you had no vision, were they unfair?
Absolutely, they're unfair. I mean, I think there were one or two people out of, again, like 90% were very, very positive. I can't control 2 or 3 guys who don't think I have any vision for the league. There were guys who said I didn't have any background in sports marketing. Clearly, they don't know what they're talking about. There are going to be critics, like there are in any situation, and it doesn't bother me.
What kind of a commissioner are you going to be? Jeff Giles had a tough time trying to move the league into progressive areas with the XFL, for example. You said you won't be a yes man, but clearly you've got different factions within this league you're going to have to deal with.
Yeah, it's like in any professional league. We have the same challenges. We have board governors who come from different backgrounds and have different views on where we should be. Part of my challenge is to be a consensus builder and try and get us on the same page, and that's something that obviously they haven't been able to do for the last couple of years. They've had some pretty significant internal problems, and I was gratified that all eight board governors were unanimous in my hiring. They told me they're going to support my vision. They told me they're going to work with me. I'm looking forward to doing that.
But you won't be a yes man.
No, that's not my style. I'm not going to be a yes man. Obviously, I work for the governors. But again, they have to understand there are things that are for the good of the overall league that may not be, in the immediate term at least, something that they consider to be good for their club. But I think my job is to help them understand and create an environment where they feel that the betterment of the league is really long-term betterment of their club. I'm a consensus builder. I think in terms of management style, I demand a lot from my employees, but I also give a lot.
What was your reaction to, I guess, the bungle that happened with respect to the Rookie of the Year candidate in Winnipeg, Albert Johnson III, who was on the ballot, then taken off the ballot by the league because of 2 different perceptions as to what constituted a rookie between the Football Reporters of Canada and the Canadian Football League. Johnson was subsequently put back on the ballot, but it didn't look good, did it?
Well, again, I got lots of hate mail on that one. I hadn't even assumed the position, and I'm getting lots of hate mail on that. I think that a lot of it stemmed from just the lack of communication between the football writers in the league office. We had to make the best of what I consider to be a not ideal situation. But I think ultimately what happened was we didn't want the individual to be harmed because of that. And I think that the committee that we struck and the people that we had in that decision-making process made the right decision.
Do you see yourself cleaning house coming into the CFL in the executive and management levels?
No, quite frankly, I don't. I will hire and have been interviewing candidates for a senior vice president of business operations lighten the load with regard to what Jeff was doing on the financial side of the business. But we have a very, very competent staff at the league office. I've got to know them over the past month or so. Again, not as well as I want to get to know them over the next month or so, but we have a lot of really talented people in the league office. I want to do what I can to keep everybody.
It's been quite a learning curve, hasn't it?
It's been fun. You know, really? 3 weeks ago. Yeah, sure. I mean, I've had a lot of fun. This is a tremendous opportunity for anybody, and I wouldn't miss it.
We touched on the XFL and the Arena League, but those are two areas that the league is going to have to deal with next season. Players in this league are already talking about going to the XFL and violating their contracts, which state that they should be under contract until the middle of February. Will this league release its players if they want to go in their option year, or they fulfilled their contract, to the XFL?
Well, our contracts are valid and enforceable, in our opinion. So far, the SFL has not violated that agreement, both in terms of letter or the spirit of the agreement. We've had informal discussions with them, and I don't anticipate them not in compliance.
Right. Leaks in the boardroom. You were a victim of that. It's been a problem within this league. How will you stop those and run this league differently?
I think the first thing we have to do is make every single governor understand, and I've spoken with all of them individually and as a group. And I think we're moving in that direction. A lot of it had to do with the fact that a lot of people were not really sure what direction we were going with respect to my search. My job will be to create an environment where people feel, or at least understand, that the sensitive nature of some of the issues we'll deal with will be really compromised if we let it out through the media. And a lot of it will be controlling the information in terms of when they need to know it, and a lot of it will be making them understand that it really does hurt us as a league in terms of the public's perception, in some respects in terms of potential strategic alliances or corporate sponsorship deals and that sort of thing. It's going to hurt us if we misstep in that regard. So my job is to help, make them understand how important it is.
All seems well at this time of year, Grey Cup weekend here in Calgary. I guess the secret will be to somehow be able to extend that through the course of the regular season.
You're right. You're right. I mean, this is the best time of year if you're a CFL fan. And we have two great teams here and a great city, a great Canadian Football League city. My job is to help extend that feeling of goodwill, and we do have challenges, but I'm looking forward to them.
Michael Lisko, thanks for joining us on the program. Enjoy the weekend here in Calgary, and good luck in your first term as commissioner.
Thank you very much.
So that's our first edition of Game Faces on CBC Sports Saturday. Thanks for watching. I'm Mark Lee, and I'll see you tomorrow from the Grey Cup at McMahon Stadium.